Thank you very much to the good people of Leeds and the council taxpayers, because the Wi-Fi works. I think. It doesn't work on my phone, but apparently we're on. Welcome, we're back. Live here in South Leeds, like the album by The Who, but it's not quite as good.
Or the fact they didn't come south of the river.
No, and apologies if you're watching on YouTube, because I've forgotten my microphone, but we won't need it anyway, because he's back from exile or whatever he's been. They've let him out. Lockdown in Belle Isle apparently lasted a lot longer than it did in the rest of the world. Garry Schofield too.
Oh, hey boys, okay? Yeah, it's good. Good to be back.
What is fan club?
Yeah, good to be back, and I say one thing for sure. Let's get ripped in. It's better to get ripped in as well, isn't it? To be honest with you, from a point of view, I think the first week of the Rugby League has been brilliant. The entertainment's been great. The attractiveness, and as I kept saying many times before, the COVID came. Playing with that vision, playing with that awareness, controversial from referees, and then also from a sad point of view. Over the last 3 weeks, we've lost, I would say, 4 legends of the game. Not just the very old Des Drummond, but the immortal Johnny Raper, and the great comment what Roy Masters said about Johnny Raper. Sydney lost part of itself with the death of Johnny Raper, and Johnny Whiteley yesterday. Well, he's Mr. Hull, isn't he? And part of Hull died yesterday because the pass of Johnny Whiteley and the New Zealand great, and also Filipana. But it's great to be back, boys. Great to be back. I'm looking forward to these 2 hours.
I don't know what lockdown's done to you. Will you come back positive?
Looking forward for these 2 hours, that is for sure.
So, first of all, I think we should talk about Des and Olsey, because you played with them and against them.
Yeah.
Des was, we use the word superstar, but because of what he did on the programme Superstars, he actually took Rugby League to a whole new audience. But just this whole story of him getting into Rugby League, being on a bus, going to watch his brother, and then ending up scoring a hat-trick. Tell us about the real Des Drummond.
Well, the Des, what I got to know, and also to not just myself, but all the players from Lee, Warrington, Workington, and the Great Britain boys and the other clubs, what he played for, is that they were different, and he knew he were different. Don't worry about that. Not just from his pace, what he did, but also too defensive-wise, because as everybody will know, if Des Drummond caught you, then you knew. But if Des Drummond missed you, somebody in the standing about the 6th row were getting hit, because that's how bad he was at times. Really defensive-wise. But as a character, he was great. And one thing what he was for me, most certainly, because getting selected for the '84 tour, and Desi was my winger, and he put me on the international map. And the 2 tries what I scored in the Test series against the Aussies after the disaster of '84, where we only scored 1 try from there. And Desi was part of that with the big confrontation against Eric Groth. I think, bless his soul, Desi, I would imagine Desi would agree that Groth got the better of him, but Eric Groth got the better of everybody. But he certainly put me on the map. But from a Rugby League point of view, though, he was our first superstar. There's no 2 ways about it. We knew that programme what he was, but he just took it to the whole new level. He took it out there to the country, and what did he do? The 100 metres in 10.84, which
Olympic time.
Olympic record. So he could have got selected for for the Olympics, but he turned it down. Stayed with the greatest game of all, and I think the record speaks for itself. His try scoring, his appearances, and his performances, his consistent performances, made him simply one of the best. And when I found out, 3 weeks ago on the Saturday, and I gave Ellery a call, and literally, we were in tears, because we've lost one of our teammates, but we've lost, well, I would say one of the greats of the game. And it's very, very sad for you. Also, Filipana, well, he was
talking of tackling. If he hit you,
well, if he hit you, and his backside was like a Gable Lens, to be honest with you, so you had to have arms like Arnold Schwarzenegger to get anywhere near him. But he just had the talent where he was allowed to express himself. Don't get me wrong, he didn't like Balmain Tigers under Frank Stanton, because Frank tried to take all that away from him. But certainly in a Kiwi jersey, like many of the Kiwi guys do, they seem to grow another leg, or seem to grow another pair of arms, or this sort of thing, and then fuse as him. And he certainly showed that, and from a skill point of view, he was certainly one of New Zealand's best. And
did you play with him at Balmain?
No, I didn't play with him at Balmain.
Your paths must have just crossed.
His paths just crossed from there. I think he was on on his way, or maybe unless it was
I think
in
he
the.
was just after you.
I think it was. I think maybe just before me, was it? Also, I went there in '85. I don't think he was there. No, he wasn't there when I was there. To be honest with you, from there, but certainly a great for New Zealand Rugby League, and a very well. I saw him in the World Cup in 2017. He was in great form. He looked very well. He was very happy in himself, and I was very sad again to learn of his death. And then again, it's a bit sombre, isn't it? But Johnny Raper, boy oh boy, I tell you what, the people who have asked over the last 48 hours when I found out about Johnny Raper's passing away, and just speaking to a good friend of mine yesterday, massive Leeds fan, a gentleman called John Penniston, and what he just would tell him would just say, you look at the photograph in the League Express when you see Gazdia, you see Raper, you see Fulton, you see Churchill, and when I just mentioned their names, he just said, Schoey, it was just something different. When the Aussies came over here touring in them days, and certainly when we went to Headingley, it was just something special, because these players were very, very special, and Mr. Raper certainly will fully deserve. I think he's going to have a state funeral, like Bob Fulton did as well, and rightly so from there.
Loved a glass of champagne.
Loved it all, loved to drink. Well, as I say, he was a character. You know, because I read about the story with Stuart Raper. This is how popular he was, and the people what he knew at Raper. Johnny Raper was Bob Hawker was who was the Prime Minister, and Stuart Raper was contacted, I think, by Cass to get his visa. Yeah. And anyway, so he said, you know, Dad, I need to get my visa within 48 hours. And Johnny Raper said, just leave it with me. He said, what do you mean? He said, just leave it with me. You'll have your visa in the next 12 hours. Chuck that was his nickname. Chuck Raper, straight on the phone to Bob Hawke, the Prime Minister. And within 12 hours, he had the visa, and off he went. So that's how big Johnny Raper was there, and as a player, and as I say, Johnny Whiteley, well, Humberside will be in mourning, because he was Mr. Hull, and as Roy Master said about Johnny Raper, a part of Hull died yesterday.
Would he have looked after you when you signed for Hull? Would he have come and put an arm round you? Because he was always there. He was always an ambassador. He always looked after people.
Phil, Johnny Whiteley did that with everybody. Johnny Whiteley did that with everybody, and the advice. Well, I tell you what, if Johnny Whiteley went to any player, and he didn't want to take Johnny Whiteley's advice, well, you're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot, because not only did he know the game, not only did he play the game at the highest level, not only did he coach the game at the highest level, but he won everything at the highest level as well. So even just the little things, what Johnny told you, you took on board. You took on board. Whether you agreed with it or not, you took it on board because you thought, well, if this guy's giving me the respect, he's giving me some advice here, surely it's going to help me as a player, whether it's attacking-wise, whether it's defensive-wise, whether it's discipline-wise, whether it's off the field, whether you're having too many sherbets or you won't have too many sherbets, and this sort of thing. The advice what he gave you was always the right advice. And I guess what I'd like to put out there to the Hull fans, if you put on Twitter, what I'd like there to put out to the Hull fans is quite simple. And who has been the most important signing Hull have ever made? And I will put 3 out there. I'd like to put 4, but they won't agree if I put myself as 4, to be honest with you. But I'll put 3. Who is the most important signing Hull FC have ever made? And I will put Whiteley, Norton, and Sterling. I'll tell you what a debate that is for the black and whites.
So you've not seen him for 18 months.
It's like nothing's happened.
Thanks for coming. Goodbye.
Yeah. How are you anyway? Because obviously you've been hidden away. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Yeah, well, I've had a few, since December 90, I think everybody's known about my eye situation, so I've had a massive issue with my eye. Started with a detached retina. Cut a long story short, it started December the 30th, 2019, and to this present day now. I had my eye removed last September, but before then, it was 7 operations, 3 laser treatments. I've had massive issues with eye pressure. Your eye pressure should be between 5 and 21. Mine got up to 82 and 78 and 70. Anyway, so in the end, I've had to have the eye removed because I just couldn't cope with the discomfort anymore. It was coming down to where I was having to put 13 drops in a day. Well, to be honest with you, there's not enough hours in a day to put that anyway. So in the end, with all of it being uncomfy, I had the eye removed in September. I have a moulding at the moment. I had a template made 2 weeks ago, which then the artificial eye will be going in there permanently. Goes in the end of March. So yeah, it's been, for everybody, with COVID as we well know, but from my own health point of view, it's a life changer, losing your eyesight from there. But hey, listen, there's more people in the world, and certainly, as we know, with his own, with Robbie Burrow, and you know what I'm feeling for him, saying, I think of Rob, and then I just go, Schoey, stop moaning. Simple as that. Simple as that, boys. But say what, it's great to see. We've got plenty to talk about, and boy, oh boy, what a cracking start with the with everybody. Everybody seems to be been playing attractive rugby league, Phil Kaplan. What's all that about?
I think there's been a change in style, hasn't there? I think that people have realised that there's always an era, a cycle, and that cycle of wrestle has gone. The six again has probably prompted that.
Yeah.
Even though scrums are back, and how great was it to see a trial for scrum?
Well.
I mean, you know.
But also, hold on.
Tony Smith will be working on that all.
No, but hold on. When we talk about that from a scrum, OKR front rower, Betsy was playing at scrum half all the time.
Yeah.
No.
Well, they got
I'm not having that. I'm not having that. Well, they got found out, exactly. They got found out.
No, there seems to be, amongst particularly the Tony Smith school, the philosophy. So you've got people like Willie Poach and Richard Agar. It's filtering down now that you can win by playing entertaining rugby. And that's the norm. Matty Peake deserves a bit of credit because Wigan, I know we're only judging it on 80 minutes, looked as though they were prepared to use
there's
the
a
ball.
league table in the paper. Huddersfield the top.
But, you know,
Not for long.
Field wasn't discouraged from releasing the ball on his own line for Marshall's length of the field try.
Well, we all, for the last 2 or 3 seasons, we wouldn't have seen that, would we? You know, but as we all know who they brought in Lee Breers from there, so you could see straight away, from the kick from the scrum that Lee Breers has had a massive influence already in pre-season. And if I'm honest with you, before the season started, and I said, will Lee Breers have or will he be given the authority where, yes, listen, just let me take the attacking side there, let the players play with the confidence, and as I keep saying, as you know, I've said it for many years, let them play with what they see, let them play with that vision and awareness from there. And Wigan did it brilliantly, straight, from the scrum, because we know they've got some quick guys, they've got some very quick guys. And then when the fullback took the high ball, and again, offloaded 3 or 4 yards from his own try line, that would never have been seen in the last 2 or 3 years. Let's play like this week.
It'll be raining.
Let's see more of it.
But Darrell's always played that way as well. So the more and more coaches have a philosophy that your defence is a given, you have to be strong. But if you've got a chance to create, use it.
Well, at the end of the day, sport will always tell you, if you don't score more points on the opposition, you won't win. And my philosophy is quite simple. And I know people will go, you're wrong, Schoey. You're wrong. Defence does win games. Defence does not win your games. Defence keeps you in games.
But Catalan and Saints was a classic example of that. That for the first 20 minutes, it was all about who was going to be physically the toughest. When Saints had weathered that, the 4 tries they scored in the run to half-time were beautifully created. Well,
I'll tell you what I saw with St Helens on Thursday night. It was a different St Helens. When the Catalans from the first kick-off decided, we're going to make this a bit brutal. And you know what, St Helens went, well, come on then.
Yeah.
Come on then, let's bring it on. Let's bring it on. And boy, oh boy, did they get ripped in? And everybody knew the jobs from there. They all got ripped in. But then, when the Catalans decided to fall off a little bit, by the way, great creativity from Drinkwater, but apart from that,
but they never did it.
Them two pair of halfbacks were absolutely useless. And like in a column, I don't think people have already noticed, and I'll be giving points out of 10 on one game, and the 2 halfbacks. Schoey giving 2 halfbacks 3 out of 10. What's all that about? It's normally front rowers or back rowers or whatever you're from there, but 2 halfbacks in Drinkwater and Mitchell Pearce, who, by the way, believe it or not, I've tipped to be the man of steel on that performance. Jesus Christ, he was absolutely...
Why did you tip him to be man of steel?
Because...
Just because you played with his old man?
No, nothing to do with that. I just feel as though he's a quality player, playing behind that pack of forwards, and I say the backs, what he's got out in there, he's just a quality player. But on Thursday night, geez, I've seen better under 9s. I'll take the Parks. I can reassure you. But
talk about Parks.
But one thing for sure, what I saw with St Helens on Thursday night, they like being hunted. They have put the marker down. I'll tell you what, geez, it's going to take a quality side to stop them doing forward.
Did you jump out your armchair when Lewis Dodd chipped over and won the race to the ball?
Hey, listen, it's great to see, and again, it's got to be credit to the coach, because Lewis Dodd, for me, because we ain't got too many quality scrum halves, as we know that, he should be knocking on the door for the England squad.
Don't say that. No. The last 2 people you've said that
they're
about,
at Bradford now. They haven't played together.
Haven't kicked on.
No.
And you've forgiven me for saying this.
I'm just reminded. I just don't want you to curse Lewis Dodd.
Well, I'll tell you what, because we'll have a 20-minute scenario. Do you know these halfbacks who I mentioned? I've got them all at home now. They've gone so far backwards. They've gone so far backwards. To be honest with you, they should be sat here with us.
Don't hex Mr. Dodd.
But no, listen.
No, I'm just saying Lewis Dodd is a candidate for the England World Cup.
Yeah, but listen, Phil. The fact of the matter is, Wolfie is giving him what he sees in what he playing. He's not taking that away from him. He's got an experience.
But he also gave him about 50 games where he was learning his trade.
Yeah.
Partly at hooker, so to toughen him up. And that is why when he comes on, he's got all the confidence. He's got the belief of his coaching staff in him. But that's the proper
and
way
the players around him
to bring a young kid.
And the players around him.
Absolutely.
And the players around him, because they're all applauding. And to be honest with you, right? I know you're going to give me a little bit of stick for that. That's what I'm saying. But listen, I saw that with Jordan Lilly when he played against the Kiwis in 2017. Where's he gone? Backwards. I saw it with Declan Patton. Where's he gone? Backwards. I saw that with Richardson. Where's he gone? Backwards. And now I'm seeing it with Truman. Where's he going? Backwards. And Harry Smith at Wigan. Where is he going? Backwards. Listen,
well, at least
coaches.
He's got Lee Breers now to look at.
Well, hopefully.
So.
Well, hopefully. And I'm just hoping young McNamara, when he gets any more chances at Hull, he'll be okay. But at this moment in time, the only young halfback who is being allowed to express himself and play with that vision, it's simple. It's Lewis Dodd, because his coach is giving him the authority and the trust.
To all the people who are watching at home, I can't read your comments because they're miles away there. And my eyesight's worse than Schoey's at the moment.
Well, I can't really do it about
Exactly.
that. I've only got one anyway now, to be honest with you.
Christian Wolf, not only is he giving Lewis Dodd etc. chances, but he's moulding his Tonga team with having Conrad Howell there scoring a great try off that great interception from Sam Tompkins. I think you would have scored that one as well today.
Well, I'll tell you what, I texted my great mate at the side of my ear on Thursday night. I said, what do you reckon about Conrad Hill? And do you know what? I can't repeat what the message said. I can't repeat what the message said. But I'll tell you what, fair play to him.
No, he's
fair play to him.
It's been hard for him personally, being over here and in the situation. He's now at a club where he's got a point to prove. He's with a coach who he wants to impress for the World Cup at the end of the year. We know he's a good player when he's in condition. He's a crowd pleaser.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I reckon he's going to become an absolute cult hero down there.
Well, I'll tell you what. He looked in tremendous condition on Thursday night, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's got to have lost a stone or two, hasn't he?
Yeah.
The way it was from then, he was playing with that smile on his face. But
he would have done that at Leeds if his circumstances around him.
Well, this is what I'm going to ask you. So, was he so much in the comfort zone at Leeds that realistically could he do what he wanted? Could he eat what he wanted? Did he have to train?
He wasn't happy.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
We were in a COVID situation where everybody was in lockdown.
Okay.
He's a very gregarious guy. He's a sociable guy.
Yeah.
It's very hard just to turn up to training and go home, and all your family's on the other side of the world. So, yeah, it was tough for him. And he had, I think, if he didn't have, then I think he was a close contact of COVID. I'm making excuses.
Yeah, you have to. To be honest with you, you know the Leeds fans out there. The Leeds fans out there now. The Leeds fans out there.
This is what used to happen. You used to slaughter everyone, and I used to make excuses.
The Leeds fans who are out there will be thinking, Phil, what are you going about there?
I think
the question the Leeds fans will be asking, why didn't he play like that for us?
Not every season he didn't.
He wasn't consistent, was he?
No.
That's a word, consistent.
But when he arrived, he looked the part. And at the moment, I wish him nothing but success.
Absolutely.
I want him to be a key player for Tonga in the World Cup. And whenever he does decide to go home, I know he was extremely concerned with the tsunami that happened over the Christmas period, because he lived for the first 17 years in Tonga. He's not a heritage player. He actually is born and brought up there. He's got a lot of family over there. Very devout man in terms of what Tonga means to him and all of that. And I think he really felt it. He felt it, and he's got a reason to play at the moment. And it'd be lovely to watch that every week.
Well, one thing for sure,
it'd be great on television this week.
He's certainly got the St Helens fans.
On Channel 4,
yeah.
You make a character, don't you?
Oh, without doubt. No two ways about it. And one thing for sure, he's got the St Helens fans on his side now, and it's all about consistency, which I'm sure he will be under Wolfie.
The try self for Roby,
class,
which is unbelievable that Roby started and finished it at the age of 105.
Class.
But the fact that he was prepared to look for someone and get the ball out, the skill to do that with three men round you, if he can produce that, the Saints fans will love him.
Well, I have to say, I saw a different side to St Helens, i.e. from a point of view where, yes, come on then, we're ready. If you fancy it, yeah, so do we. But again,
and that's without James Bentley.
But again, the quality, but then the creativity. Well, say no more, and they put the marker down, and they are the team to beat. And do you know what? I'm going early, guys.
No.
I'm going early.
Treble.
I'm going early. So they are going to win the grand
Well,
final. They are going to do 4 on the
come
trot.
on, we said
I'm not
this
doing the
week-
treble. They are going to win. They are going to do 4 on the trot. They are. So I'm going early.
You have.
I'm going early, but not the treble yet. Not the treble yet. All right.
Does that mean they're the greatest team in the history of Super League? Because obviously Rugby League only started when Maurice Lindsay
Yeah,
said.
1996. Rugby League
Forget
started.
Wigan winning, what was it, 7 in a row?
Yeah,
Yeah, but they
And
had all the
Challenge
money.
Cups. Yes.
The only thing they didn't have was Schoey. You know that.
Well, they could have had.
What's that?
Wigan.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah,
had
yeah,
everything
oh
they
yeah,
needed.
yeah.
compliment.
Honest. Well, I said before, haven't I? If Lauren had been honest with me, then I would have gone to Wigan, and then the rest would have been history. Simple as that.
You wouldn't have suited Cherry and White, would you?
Well, I'm still giving 110%, and I'll still rip Leeds apart when I come back to England. Don't worry about it. Anyway, it never happened, did it? It never happened.
Things that never
But
happened.
Darryl Powell's Super Warrington, All-Star, it's their year Warrington, classy Warrington, they beat Leeds.
Tell you what though, Rich, the fact of the matter is, they hung in there for 80 minutes. They didn't panic, and when they needed that bit of creativity at the end there, from a point of view, they didn't panic. Yeah, should Warrington have won that game? No, they shouldn't. Was Leeds a better game? Yes, there was. But the game is for 80 minutes. At times, Warrington just looked as though they were a team of individuals. There's no two ways about that. But in the end, they're stuck in there for the 80. When the pressure was on, they didn't panic. Had that creativity from there, and then Ratchford kicks it there, nearly enough from the sideline to get the 2 points. And yeah, obviously, as Leeds fans, as what me and Phil are, and the coaching staff certainly at Leeds and all the supporters were very, very disappointed. But very, very encouraging signs for both sides.
I think the thing to take out of that was
Yeah.
when we'll talk about the impact of Channel 4, and I've never known something in Rugby League that everybody has so got behind and been so
Give it a
impressed
week.
with.
Give it a week.
But let's just revel at the fact that this week it's great. For Darryl to go on that and say, I thought the best side lost, is massive for Rugby League.
Dall's always open and honest anyway,
But
isn't he?
in what other sport would you have got the coach of a at football, it's like, let's see who can make the most excuses. This is why we lost, this is why it's unfair, But to come on national television and say, feeling a bit like we played a get out of jail free card there because the other team were better than we were.
Yeah.
How refreshing is that? How good a picture does that paint of the values of Rugby League?
Well, I think, to be honest with you, Dell couldn't really say anything else, could he?
No, well, he could.
If we're honest from there, but what Dell... Because I would imagine after the game in the dressing room, I would imagine he may have ripped in a little bit. He may have ripped in,
Did at
but...
half time.
But
Leon Price said it after.
I would imagine, he may have ripped in for a little bit, but then I would imagine he said, hey, listen, but at the end of the day, we managed to get the 2 points, so that's even a better sign from there. So, yeah, the sign walk, they didn't panic, they hung in there, and they beat a very, very good Leeds side.
I think in terms of if you're fans of either team, you would have justified hope that the season is going to be enjoyable. You might not win anything, you might win everything, but what you're going to get from your team, if they're going to play like that on week one, is it's worth turning up to watch them.
Hey.
And that's what you want at this time of year.
Let me tell you this. What I saw on television all this week, and certainly even listen to the Wakefield Hull game on radio. Hey, listen, I want more of the first week. I want more of the first week. Coaches, please keep encouraging attractive Rugby League. Whether you're in your own 22, 50 yards out, 30 yards out. Let's have a look.
First try on Channel 4.
Oh,
Length of the field affair with a brilliant round the man pass. Another one where you managed to pull someone in to get the numbers on you. So some speed down the wing, and the guy who started it finishes it. If you can't sell that, you can't sell anything.
Well, every game this week was all what Rugby League was all about.
Yep.
We had indiscipline, i.e. because you're not allowed to fight anymore. We had high tackles you're not allowed to do. We had referees, decisions what, again, inconsistency was there. We had sensational attacking play, Rugby League. More of it, please. This is round one. Can we have it now? Can we have this up to the grand final in October?
It'd be nice to think so.
Absolutely. And why not? Why not?
What a signing Chris Kendall was for
Warrington.
Do you see they put the stats out today? The Rugby League record keepers have put the stats out for every club of the current referees, and Wakefield haven't got a winning record with any referee. I can't
What does
believe
that say
it.
about Wakefield?
We're crap.
I
We have been for years.
Stats say.
He's back. He's back.
No.
He's back. He's all right. He's back.
Not working for the
He's
club
back.
anymore.
He's back.
You know what I enjoyed about that game was Conor Edge made a couple of errors in the game and still scored the try, which was the crucial one at the end. Warrington get the win, Leeds lose, big crowd, look good on the telly.
Yeah.
And as you say, everyone seems to be happy with what happened. A great start for Channel 4, it says on your column. Everyone's happy. Even Leon Price swearing, that was brilliant.
Yeah, well, do you know what as well? Because I was lucky enough to be in the sponsors part in the well, it's not the Emerald anymore, is it? You know, it's the Howard Suite, isn't it? It's the Howard Suite then, and it was absolutely rammed, and Channel 4 were in there going round and all this sort of thing, you know. So fair play, and it's sensational. It's fantastic to be back on normal terrestrial television, you know, and more of it, please. And after that game on Saturday, and then there's this one coming up now, and you look when they go to Hull on Saturday, and St Helens are coming in with the best side. What's just happened to the great man himself, Mr. Whiteley? It's going to be very, very emotional. It's going to be, from a point of view from there, the whole players will be saying, we need to do it for Johnny. We need to do it for Johnny. The whole fans will turn out. The whole fans will turn out, just literally. You know, like they want to see a quality game of rugby league, but they will be turning out there for the great man himself.
The great thing as well is that they're going to pay tribute to him on national television.
Yeah, absolutely.
So whilst you know, we'd rather he was with us.
Yeah.
If he is going to go, and he goes just before a Hull game, and the national cameras are at Hull and they're going to pay tribute to him, reflects on the fact that this game has a fantastic history.
No, of course it does.
So
absolutely.
In every respect, it's going to be a fitting occasion. Dylan Napper, 4 matches.
Oh, is that what you're... Any word yet on... Because I'm just trying to get on the Rugby League website, but my internet's not very good. So James Bentley, of course. Who,
I think his appeal's being heard now, but Dodson 3 and Napper 4.
I thought the great thing about the game was Chris Kennelly explaining to Cruz Lehman why Ollie Holmes got a yellow and why James Bentley got a red.
See also as well, and do you know what, fellas? I'm still reading CFAX. Even after 2.5 years, it's still around on CFAX. I don't think it'd be keeping up with all the COVID news and everything what's going on around the world and what have you. But I saw Willie Porchin's piece yesterday, you know, regarding with the head-high tackles. Listen, the fact of the matter is, listen, players. Just let me tell you, players, right? The simple fact is, it's like tripping in rugby league. You're not allowed to do it. It's against the law. It's against the law. You're not allowed to trip. Now, as we all know what's going on with the concussion situation from there, you know you're not allowed to go anywhere near the head. So why are you doing it? Why are they doing it?
Well, it's like the shoulder charge, though, because now we don't even talk about the shoulder charge, do we? But there was a time where, even though it was outlawed, habit meant players were still doing it. I would say at times some people may have forgot that was going. Some people may have forgot that it was going. High tackles.
No, the Warfield.
There'll be a consideration that players are doing something out of habit, but give it 3 or 4 weeks, they won't be doing it.
Oh, well, they can't do. They can't because, quite simply, now the law is there. It has been laid down from there. You are going to get suspended, whether it's 2, 3, 4, 5 games or whatever. So players, quite simple. Don't be blaming referees or anybody else. If you go around the head, you know what's going to happen to you. And they say it's like tripping. It's not allowed. High tackles anymore are not allowed. So stop it. Simple as. Don't blame referees.
Don't blame referees. People have missed the banging on the table.
That's what all the comments will be.
It will.
I can't hear anything because of banging on the table.
So, as devil's advocate, game's gone soft. Going in your day, you could just go out and bash each other and do whatever you want. Go and have a pint, and now they're all playing video games.
You know, Richie. You know, like the start of the Catalans game. That's what that is literally what rugby league's all about. But unfortunately, as we know now, with concussion and with the dementia issues and all this sort of thing and whatever, this is why the game's going that way, because even football, as we know, we're headed, but rugby union from our point of view, we know what's happening in rugby league from now. The sports are scared because, from a financial point of view, it's going to hit them massively if it is proven, with the contact and with the contact to the head. So yeah, it is. From my ear, from there, they will say it's going soft. But
we used to have purges on hookers in scrums getting sent off for technical offences that nobody ever knew what it was. Yeah. But it's just a cyclical thing.
No, but Phil, this ain't going away. This ain't going away now.
But the game always changes. We had 15 men at one stage. We had a scrum every time a tackle was made. The game evolves. It's now going to evolve without contact to the head. that's not
But that's staying in forever now, though.
Yeah, but that's
That's
not
staying in forever.
necessarily a bad thing. If
Oh,
you
no,
see,
I agree.
If you see the kind of
Yeah,
skills,
I agree.
if it allows
Well,
Lewis Dodd to do what he did,
Yeah.
because
Well,
there isn't somebody looking
Well,
for
do you
his
know what?
head.
I'll tell you what I would bring in. I'll tell you what, because you look at the way the 10 metres apart, and you look at the size of the guys now, they are total athletes, whether you play in league or whether you play in union. What I would bring in, because you look at the contacts in our game now, you see them 3 and 4 men. You look at them that first tackle with St Helens against Catalans, there were 5 men in Dudson. There were 5 men. So what I would do to stop all this, and it would be just make it a 2-man tackle and bring the 5-metre rule back. You know, so that would help. That would help from a point of view with the contact, and then also to maybe lesser the tax to the head from the players. But they would be too. Well, I would certainly consider it without a doubt. I would.
We need to get you on Cameo. Do you know what Cameo is?
No.
It's this thing where you can pay celebrities to do a video message.
All right.
So Martin Affire's on there. 74 quid he charges for a video message.
Does he?
Saying hello, I'm Martin Affire, happy birthday or whatever. Do you want to buy an electric car? Jason Clark of Warrington, 4 quid. We could get him probably to plug the show. But I don't know if anyone knows who he is.
I think I might just want a trilogy box from KFC. That'll do for me.
Some things have
That'll do
changed.
for me. That'll do for me.
Toulouse were also on the telly, and they lost to Huddersfield. I'm impressed by Armitage's hair. Very impressive. That was about it. But I have to say,
They scored the first try.
Yeah, I wasn't paying full attention. They must have been doing something else, but that's just Huddersfield, I think. But they won, and now they're top of Super League and Toulouse are bottom, which many people think they will be at the end of the season.
They will be.
Not helped by the fact that 2 of their key promotion players appear not to be playing.
Who could be back?
Or could they be back?
Well, the laws are changing slightly, and they'll change again.
So Jonathan Fowles not bothered about his freedom now anymore?
Well, no, I think you won't have to be vaccinated to play. So I think he could. It's significant, I think, that Jonathan Ford hasn't signed for anybody else, because I think he's the kind of player that you look at some of the clubs, particularly in the Championship, that could do with a creative halfback at this moment. You would have thought somebody would have snapped him up. The fact that he is still over in France, he hasn't moved. I think, you know, he's probably got a good enough relationship with Sylvain Hules to say, if the situation changes and you haven't found something else, you'll still be welcome back here.
Also, as well, though, Phil, why do you think they've not signed more? Well, there's not a lot of quality out there.
That's the problem, isn't
There's
it?
not a lot of quality because, as I said, Toulouse are just literally like Leigh were last year. They'll compete for 50, 55, 60 minutes, but then they're going to die off because, unfortunately, they've got journeymen. And them journeymen are quite simple, where other Super League clubs don't want them. You know, other Super League clubs don't want them. And, yeah, they'll compete for a certain time, but then obviously the class and the quality and the fitness of the other players of the Super League
And they
club are
haven't
just going to rip them
played
apart.
at that intensity week in, week out
Correct.
before, because you don't have to or they didn't have to in the Championship.
Absolutely.
Particularly last year when it was such a mixed year with COVID, where they weren't even playing every other week. So it was always going to be tough for them. Did I expect more of them on their first home game? Probably a little bit.
Yeah.
I think they got a bit caught up in the occasion. But again, we're looking at a Huddersfield team who disappointed last year, who on that performance should be a lot better this year.
Well, they'll be happy. The second game, obviously, it's home this time. They've got Lookings to Rovers, but you know they'll be looking for a bit of a reaction. Well, Charlie Smith there against Huddersfield, but if Watson wanted to pick 2 games, the first 2 games of the season, to get himself rolling, because before the season started, he predicted that Huddersfield, no less than 6, he'll do for them. Well, to be honest with you, before he took the Huddersfield job, they said they were a top 4 club. You know what a massive mistake that was by him, by predicting that himself. But he's already said this year, being in the top 6 has got to be the minimum. But we'll wait and see on that one. But if he wanted the 2 fixtures to open, it would have been Toulouse away, and the way Hulkins Rovers played, Hulky out at home.
And a really good hooker. Like Danny Levy looked like an exciting hooker.
Yeah.
Again, looking for things out of dummy half rather than just, you know, head down, bum up, running from dummy half. So it'd be interesting to see with the professionalism of Chris Hill if they've actually signed quite astutely this year. Because nobody was really talking about them in the run-up to the start of the season.
Well, why should we? After last season, if I'm honest.
Because Ian Watson's record as a coach, last season aside, is getting the best out of players that perhaps others don't rate. So maybe he has now found a more settled combination. He's got more people in the club that want to play the way.
He's not talking about going through the process, which I'm delighted with.
Mention the process.
I'm delighted with. We're going through the process. Hold on, you played 24 games. Hey, what do you mean it's still going
No
for the
process.
process? Do you know what I mean? But anyway, they will be happy. Get the 2 points because it was a banana skin, wasn't it? It was a banana skin from there. But
They
yeah,
were
well played.
convincing winners in the end.
And you know, Hulkinson Rovers, Tony, nice wide pitch there at Huddersfield. He'll be looking for the reaction. That's going to be a competitive game. It is.
Don't forget the new 4020 magazine, which is down there in the corner, is out this week. Riggett says Declan Rice has put some timber on. That's a bit harsh, isn't it? Speaking of Schoey's favourites, here's Chris. Mark Sneed could have played in a dinner jacket last Friday against Cass. Over to be the surprise package. All credit to Paul Rowley as well.
I've heard so. And also, yeah, listen, we all know what Sneedy will bring. We all know what he'll bring. And fair play to Sneedy. He said, well, now I think I've got the right half-back with me who just wants to take control from there. And Sneedy will do that nicely because he has got the best game. He has got the best kicking game in Super League. He's the best goal kicker in Super League. He is the best drop goal kicker in Super League. So, like Castleford, a little bit indisciplined by all accounts. But if you're going to give penalties 30, 40 yards away for Sneedy, he's going to put them over the H's. You know, so, yeah, well done there. And well done, Paul Rowley. And again, another coach who wants to play in an attractive way.
The signing of Brodie Croft is really important.
I'm hoping so. Because I've always liked him as a scrum half.
The combination of a guy who can kick well and organise and Brodie Croft who then can play it as he sees it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And who has come up through this Melbourne school.
And by the way, he would be allowed to be Paul Rowley.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Yeah.
That combination could actually work. It could bring the best out of both of them.
Listen, as I keep saying about a combination, this is why the one at Catalans, what I saw on Thursday night will not work because they both want to be the organisers. They both want to be, here we are, instead of one just being a support player and saying, hold on, after 10 minutes I'm going to take charge from there. No, they both want to play the same role. It ain't going to work. But when you look at the way that Sneedy and Brodie Croft is, they both know their own roles.
Yep.
They both identified their own roles, and it will be a winning partnership.
And Croft is an entertainer. And
He can play. The kid can play.
And again, the other rule that we've now got is that if you take somebody slightly late after they've passed, it'll be a penalty.
Well,
which will stop people taking playmakers late.
Well, again, as I've talked about, that half-backs who have gone so far backwards. When we saw Brodie Croft destroy Leeds in the World Cup Challenge in 2018, he was next to replace Cooper Clonk, but he went so far backwards when he was at Brisbane.
Yeah,
and
he
what
just
have you.
took some bad career
Yeah,
advice.
he did.
Should have hung around with Craig Bellamy.
Yeah, he should have done.
He
Should have done, but he wasn't patient enough and what have you. But he went so far backwards. Well, at Brisbane last year, I'll tell you what, I could have played better than him, to be honest with you. But now he's come back over here now to resurrect his career. If he has 2 or 3 seasons here and goes back to the NRL, I'll be delighted for it. But that kid can play.
Yeah.
And he will be allowed to under Paul
And that,
Rowley.
again, could be Salford's most astutest signing.
Also as well, and we're talking about pressure. Radders is under pressure straight away, isn't he? Full house, 10,000, wanted to start, and well, he hasn't got it, and then he goes to, and I say they go to Warrington with Darryl Powell from there. So I think I've looked at the Castlefords for 6 games, and when you look at the fixtures, tell you what, boy oh boy, they might be lucky maybe to get maybe 1, but certainly maybe no more than 2, and they could be proper. They could be proper the ladder up. So the pressure is on straight away, isn't it?
But again, I think the disappointing thing from the Castleford point of view was that he said they didn't match the opposition. And that when you're going into your first game of the season, is a minimum requirement. You might lose, but if your coach is already saying we were out 4, that's a bit of a concern.
Well, to be honest with you, that's not coach's fault. That's the players themselves. That's the players themselves as individuals, and also as a team collectively. Well, what were the captain doing? Why wasn't the captain giving it to him?
I would imagine that again, Paul McShane's getting into the role. He's only just been appointed.
How long has he been around?
Yeah, but that was Michael Shenton's job, wasn't it? His team and.
Yeah, he's a captain.
We're not making excuses.
Yeah, I'm not making excuses.
He did all right with Hunslet Parkside the next day.
Sorry?
He did all right the next day, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Well, he's doing a great job at Parkside, but at the end of the day, his day-to-day job, he's been Castleford Tigers captain.
I just think that Lee sounded a bit down about
the
manner in which his team hadn't competed.
I've read his comments, and he will be very disappointed because we know what he's like as a person. We know what he's like as a player, but also he brings that into his coaching philosophy. So he's under pressure a little bit from there, and a sellout crowd. You know, when we look at the crowds and all throughout, I thought it's sensational. You know, we're just short of 60,000 from there. The entertainment was good, the crowds were good. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy after round 1 of Super League. Believe that or not.
Come back in another 18.
I tell you what, you've never. Yeah, I don't think you've heard that. I don't think you've heard that for about 6 years, have you? Hey.
I don't remember ever. The thing about the crowds that I think partly it's people wanting to get back out, which is great because even last year there was a feeling that once the restrictions were lifted, there was a reluctance of people to go to stadiums. We didn't really know where we were or what was the right thing to do. I still don't think we know what the right thing to do is, but we're allowed to go and people are going. They want to be around that community again. I think the other thing is the Channel 4 factor. I think people have started looking at this season going, well, if they're interested in us, we need to invest in ourselves a little bit as well.
Without doubt.
So I think, we can talk about the presentation, what we like, what we didn't like. Their presence, I think, has really lifted the game.
You see also as well, and I've said it many times in my column, Rugby League, and we will all say it is the greatest game of all, but also too, we all know, even people who aren't involved, you'll get Wayne Rooney and all different sports stars, saying, what a great game, what a great product Rugby League is. And I've said it in my column this week, what we have got to do, we have got to go to these people, and we've got to go to big sponsors and new sponsors, because they won't come to us. And after what we saw this weekend, and what we saw on Thursday and Friday night, geez, whoever's the RFL marketing man and whatever, if he can't buy on the back of that and continue, geez, where we're going to go? Because we have got the greatest game and we have got a fantastic product.
And that's the next question. The first question is, how do we get more exposure? Hats off to everybody that's got it, but you can't turn on a television or a radio or a digital channel and not find Rugby League. Brilliant.
Put CFAX on, you get Rugby League on CFAX.
If we've now got more people putting CFAX on, then how do we convert a proportion of them to come and try a match live?
Yeah.
Not necessarily become season ticket holders, but I'll have a weekend, I'll tie it in with the fixtures, I'll go and see a game. Yeah. If they live in an area where there's a team nearby, send a kid down to play for them. If they own a company where they're going, I didn't really know this existed, but actually there's a lot of the aims and values that I can buy. Have we got the infrastructure yet to capitalise on the interest that's being created?
Well, let me just say this then. Can I just say this? When you've got quality commentators, when you've got quality pundits, when you've got quality presenters, there you go.
But you need a quality.
There you go.
You do need a quality game as well.
Well, we've got a quality game.
No, but I mean,
it's called Rugby League. It's called Rugby League.
Yeah, but it could have been a mud bath. It could have been 50-0.
It wasn't.
But what we got was the very best of what we've got to show, which is fantastic. Absolutely. And hopefully we'll get that again this Saturday. Yeah. But what we need once we've drawn people into it is the one thing you can't guarantee is what that 80 minutes is going to be like. But if you can get over the sense of you really want to watch this, you want to be part of this, you want to invest in watching it, pick a team. Don't matter who it is, but follow somebody. How do we then turn that into money?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. What we do, but it won't happen at this moment in time because he's at Leicester Tigers. Is that we get Kevin Simfield back? We get Kevin Simfield back in our game as our commercial ambassador, commercial manager, executive, whatever you want to call it. Because as what we have all seen, what Kevin has done for Rob Burrow, but it's not just his presence of what he's done there for Rob at M&D. It's just how he asserts himself, the professionalism what he brings, and also to the authority what he brings from
and the
there.
doors he can open.
Oh, this is what
because of the contacts.
Yeah, correct. And the doors what he can open. And one of the stories what I read where a sponsor just down in Leicester, he didn't have a clue who Kevin was, and to be honest with you, he didn't have a clue who Rob was until all this started from there. And he writes him out a cheque for 25 grand, and then when he finds out a little bit more what Kevin can bring. And what he's bringing to Rugby Union, he wrote him out another cheque or something for about 15, 20 grand. What Kevin Simfield can do for Rugby League is quite simple, as he said, and I do it for a living myself in selling. The reason why I'm employed is because of the name what I am, is because it makes it easier to open doors. But what Kevin Simfield can clearly do, he can sell the product, and that product is Rugby League. And as we all know, when he started off there down at Leicester Tigers now, but I'll tell you, the union authorities will be absolutely delighted that he's part of their game. And I'll tell you what, I want him back in our game. I would love him back tomorrow.
And with no disrespect to the current interim chairman, whatever his job title is of Super League, it would look much better for the sport were a Kevin Sinfield or someone of his ilk.
Well, do you know
what? He stood there in front of these things talking to the public.
Rich, we've had this conversation before, and we've always, it's a business sense of, well, you know yourself, he's qualified, he's done all this business degrees and all this sort of thing. But the most important factor, what Kevin Simfield can deliver, it's quite simple, a communication from there, and he can tell people what a great sport we've got.
He's got a sense of authority.
He's got a purpose. He's got a purpose. He's got a purpose about him, and also as well. And going back in mind, who's the biggest name in the game, Ellery. Why Ellery's not used as an ambassador? You know, because when you speak to Ellery and whatever, he's a very intelligent guy in a sense, and loves rugby league. You know, and he's a chairman. He's a chairman of the Steve Prescott Man of Steel. Why isn't Ellery going around with Kevin Simfield selling our sport, selling our products? Why isn't Martin Afire doing that from there? Why isn't Paul Sculthorpe going around from there and what have you? Why we've not got this? Let's just say.
I think you'll find Channel 4 will use people. I mean, they wanted Kevin on the first broadcast.
Of course they will.
I think one of the names you've just mentioned will be on the second broadcast.
You know,
so,
and why shouldn't
but
they?
I think that is something that they can see. That's how you sell the sport.
But
charismatic people.
But exactly. But also as well, what I'm saying, Phil, is quite simple, and Rich, is that they won't come to us.
No.
We've got to go to them. And what Channel 4 did on Saturday
gave us a platform.
Boy, oh boy, we couldn't wish for better.
But the figures were great. I mean, you know that you can make figures look whatever they want. But a peak of 3/4 of a million, that's impressive. Because a lot of people will have found it by accident and they will have stayed with it.
Are the personalities they used and Premier, and we've had this question about the positive feedback about Premier Sports and Channel 4, bar the people used, and you can have your own opinions on various personalities, did they do anything particularly different on Saturday?
I think it was...
in terms of people say, oh, they're giving Sky a kick up the backside.
No, I think it was relaxed. I think it was more relaxed, more informal. I thought when Darryl Powell came and joined them on the pitch in the rain, I thought that was great, so that it wasn't a formal, you've got a minute and a half straight after the game, here's a microphone, you've done well, thank you very much, goodbye. It was like, let's have a chat, you know, Sam can ask him a question, Leon can ask him, Adam Hill's, you know, brought the best out of the people around. I just think the style was a little bit more viewer-friendly, which is not to say that Sky isn't, but you felt that you could be part of the broadcast whether you'd never seen that game before or whether you were an aficionado of it. It wasn't patronising. I don't think they did anything different. I mean, even the Helen Skelton interview with Richard Agar, there were a couple of little asides in that you would only really know if you were a Rugby League fan, but they were funny, because you wouldn't have got them otherwise. You know, when she said, you've been trying to get Richard Agar out of the halves for the last 2 years, that's a great question when you're the wife of Richard Myler. You're trying to get Richard Myler out of the halves.
Not married to Richard Agar as well. So
and you're his
I'll point that out.
And you're his wife. That's a great question. So I just thought that they didn't try and tell you it was great. They allowed you to realise that it was.
You know, Steve will say, "This is the greatest get all the time."
Yeah, but you see, but also, you know. Before I totally do follow other people, or people do follow me. Listen.
Well, it's been 50 minutes.
Listen. At the end of the day, we didn't have the dribble, you know, because as we know, the two pundits are on Sky from there. You know, they go on about for 3 or 4 tackles without even telling us what's happened on the first, second, and third from there. Let's not beat about the bush here. You know, Mark Wilson, quite simply, is the best Rugby League commentator. He's got the gig at Channel 4 and at Premier Sports, and rightly so. And the pundits, what they were using from there, it wasn't a matter of, from a point of view where, you know, I wanted to interrupt, I wanted to get in there, I wanted to get in there. It was the right...
I'm not trying to be overly funny.
It was totally the right time. What they was doing, what they was commentating on, is I've done it myself with being a pundit, is you're commentating on what you see. You're not coming out with dribble. You're quite simply being a pundit there to see what you see, coming at the right time when the commentator just finished what he said from there. As a pundit, you're coming from there, and everybody, the timing was absolutely spot on, and they've got to take the full credit for it. And as we all know, Sky should make a change and all this sort of thing, but it won't happen. We've seen the letters around there for whatever. Channel 4, quite simple, and even Premier Sports as well now, they're blasting them away. Simple as that, because of the dribble, what they're coming out with.
The big success for me was Sam Tompkins. And when Sam retires, he is going to have a career in the media.
Well, why not?
Because he was so consummate in front of... And it's hard in a live environment. But I think they realised amongst themselves, because they can't have had too much rehearsal, because literally Sam flew out after his game on Thursday night and flew back in again for so that they won't have decided in advance who was going to say what and how they were going to say it. But I think everybody realised he was the authority that afternoon, so they went to him more than anybody else. And I think the way he explained the game was absolutely superb.
But also as well, there were...
and people are going to see him leading out England probably for the World Cup at the end.
But also as well, you know, for the performances itself on the both sides, there were no sugarcoating.
No.
You know, there were no sugarcoating from there. It was open. It were open on its commentary, open on its punditry. And let me just say this: more of it, please. More of it, please.
You can't be a comedian when you've got a comedian hosting the thing. That's your professional one. There's some breaking news apparently. This is by Steve Mascord. I've paid for this, I'm allowed to read it. Because of course we've had all the positivity over the last week, 2 weeks. A big story has just broken in Rugby League. 2 retired players have spoken openly to ITV about their own history of doping. So drugs is back, so that's good news.
Okay.
I'm not going to name them because I'm not going to give them the publicity, but it's nicely timed story there when everything's going well. And as if any sport doesn't have a problem with doping. Look at the Olympics. We can have teams come in as the Russian Olympic Committee. Even them, who knew? We haven't talked about Wakefield and Hull, which is good. Luke Gale, we surprised he ended up at Hull, and he's a captain.
Not really. No, not really. I think the sides were on when they signed Caesar, when they signed Blake Austin, didn't they? You know, so not really. It just didn't work out for Luke. You know, obviously he kicked the drop goal, did he, at the Challenge Cup? But again, he picked up a couple of injuries and that publicity falling out with the coach in Richie Agar, and that relationship could be built again. You know, so wasn't a surprise, and it's taken on another big club and the expectations are massive from there, and hopefully it can fill the boots what they've been lacking from looking at the creativity point of view out there. But you know, they got off to a good start, decent start. I'm led to believe Wakefield at times got themselves a good field position, at times clueless in attack, which cost them quite heavily from there. But Hull got themselves the 2 points what they needed. I think the last game when they played Wakefield, they did get hammered by 40 points or something last year. So they went there, showed a bit of character, showed a bit of teeth in defence. I'm led to believe, and Garry got his debut try from there. So I hope it works out for him, because he came to Leeds. He wanted to come back to Leeds. We all know what happened 10 years ago from there. Wanted to come back to Leeds. Didn't really work out for him, and hopefully, what is it, 1 or 2 year deal he's got there at Hull?
2, but I think
hopefully it works out for him there.
I mean, it worked out that he lifted a trophy with a shirt on that he wanted to, the Challenge Cup final, and, you know. But I think it came to the end of the road. And,
he fell out with the coach, and that wasn't, you know.
And I thought,
I think some of the players fell out with him as well after that incident, you know. On the
brave decision as well that Hull made him captain, because I think when you blotted your copybook at the club you've come from, and you've got some very senior players already at Hull, that's quite a big decision from Brett Hodgson. So I hope it works for that.
Yeah. Time will tell, but they got to a good start. He's got to try his debut. They got the 2 points, so both Hodgson and Garry will be very happy.
We're going to have to shove up in a minute, aren't we? Because we've got another guest coming in. Corey Hall, he's going to be great. I mean, I only saw him play against Fed in a friendly, and we lost. But he's getting a nice combination there with Tom Johnson, who's still there.
But what happens to
Tom Johnson?
Bill Tupu?
Gets paid off at the end of the year. Goes off and plays pub rugby like all the other Aussies.
Just saying.
Unfortunately for Bill Tupu, he just keeps getting injured, doesn't he? Which is a shame for him. But yeah, Corey Hall, good signing. I mean, apart from the Wakefield lost in the season.
Well, he's only 19, 20, isn't he? Is he 19, 20?
Again, a good opportunity for a young player to have a first team slot where it would have been blocked at the club he was at.
And not playing
by another young player.
Yeah. Should we talk about the championship briefly?
I tell you what, I was at Featherstone last week.
Come and join us whenever you want.
I tell you what, Sir Richard, I was at Featherstone the week before against Leigh, and I tell you what a great job they're doing there at the club from a point of view. The hospitality is absolutely buzzing. It's all round. All the retirement boards and all this sort of thing is all from there. The speckies have all got smiles on their faces, and everybody's buying into where they want to go, and that's Destination Super League. What they've been saying for the last 15 years now, and that performance against Leigh and the crowd of 4,500, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. But the great work what Mark Campbell's doing and the club is, you know, they're getting out into the community, and what they're doing is making the people, the supporters, feel part of the club. And I tell you, I've gone early again. I think that's going to get promoted. I've gone early already. Derek
will be on the phone.
That they're getting. Well, I've been on the phone, he's in Dubai at the moment, yeah, so I've been on the phone to him, because, I said to him, to be honest with you, I texted him after the game against Featherstone, I said it was like watching Wigan. But anyway, he never responded to it. But anyway, they've got a win last night against Bradford, 38 points to 4, so...
Well, you've seen Bradford as well, haven't you? You've been to Bradford game.
Yeah.
Would you be concerned?
Bradford, they're better than sleeping tablets. They're that boring. That's my opinion on Bradford.
You're going to go watch them when they've got Speedway there instead then? Or
I may not do.
You may not get the invite now.
But I tell you what, I've been down here to a couple of Hunslet games when they played Leeds and when they played Keighley. And one thing for sure, what I'm liking about the coach at Alan here at the side of it is that, as I keep preaching, he's letting his halfbacks play. He's letting his halfbacks play what they see. And young Gibbons, and I know his old man, he played with me at Leeds from there. He seems to be doing a decent job. And I say I can't harp on about coaches, you know. Let your halfbacks play what they see. Just trust them a little bit. They will come to some mistakes, and at times they may come up with, you should have maybe not played that part of the field. But in the end, most of the time they'll come up with the right decisions. But I've been very impressed with Hunslet when I've seen him a couple of times this year.
King of South Leeds, Mayor of Belle Isle, how come you ended up a Leeds supporter? It's what your local side.
Move on. Move on.
Alan Kilshaw is with us, the coach of Hunslet, unbeaten in the Challenge Cup. League season doesn't start for months now, it seems.
When does it start, Alan? Anyway, when does it start? Is it September sometime? When does it start?
26th of March.
26th of March.
Which is,
Why so late then? Why so late?
so we don't have to play in the mud and rain like we did on the weekend.
Oh, right. Is that
Smart.
so you're not happy that it started in March then?
Just after training.
Watching that Barrow game, yeah.
How is this still an extended pre-season period? Obviously you want to go as far as you can in the cup, and you've got to tie against North Wales in the next round. Is that next week?
Weekend after next.
Weekend after next. How is it trying to prepare for a league season but also have these actual competitive games in the middle of it?
It's been hard to navigate really, but I suppose a cup run's good because with the championship starting in January and Super League starting this weekend, it would have been hard to get friendlies. So I think that's what teams are finding. So we went into the Keighley game without a game, and it was a little bit of went in blind a little bit. But say we've played a few games, we've not been perfect in areas, and we've got a lot of improvement in us. But we're showing some really good things defensively. We've only let one try in each of the 3 games, and we're doing some good stuff with the ball, but that will improve. And like you say, we've got a couple of young half-backs and a new spine in the team as well. So it has been hard. So this week we'll sort of drop back into pre-season mode and do a lot of running and weights. And then next week we've got a cup game to prepare for. So it's just been trying to navigate that. But the main priority is the league season, which we're at London Scholars on the 26th of March, and they'll probably be smarting from the weekend's defeat. So.
Surely the main priority is the All Hunslet Challenge Cup final that we're going to get.
Might get the 1895. Soon if we win the next game, we're 2 games away from that as well. So.
Which again must be quite exciting. I mean, we're big fans of the 1895, but when you sat there with the players saying why you need to do another lap in the rain, the chances are you're only 2 games away from Wembley. That's an incentive at this level, sure.
It is. The only thing is they've probably all booked holidays for that weekend.
That's early.
They're all at Wembley trips, yeah. They're all on the Wembley trips.
And it's the Spurs anyway,
Yeah,
so it's a one-off experience early in the year.
It's great.
You can tell he's the coach. He's got the team. Nobody else.
It's a great. It's just a great competition, isn't it? History and heritage. You grow up watching it, and that's what I said to the young lads. You don't know how many Challenge Cup games you're going to play in, so we've took it as serious as we can each game we play, because we're fortunate to play in it. You don't know how lucky you are to play in a Challenge Cup game level. I didn't have a decent playing career. I think I played a couple of Challenge Cup games, one for Blackpool, and you remember playing in them. So for them and us to go through and to be on the telly on the weekend, they're all things that you remember when you finish playing. So yeah, we respect the competition. Like I said, the 1895, if we can do well and get a good draw in that, who knows?
You played Siddle yesterday, Alan. The attitude, the build-up to for all the week. Obviously, being an amateur side, did you do anything different with the players from a point of view where, listen, yeah, we should be good enough with them, i.e. skill-wise, defensive-wise, but was it all about, listen, if you don't turn up with the right attitude, you get turned over here?
there was a little bit of that, but also I felt that we've been disrespected quite a bit from everything I saw. Oh, that could be an upset, or that'll be a tough game. And I said to the lads, are we close to the national conference or the championship? You know, your preparation and your outcome needs to show that we're closer to the championship. I was a bit anxious on the day. I think the rain's always a leveller. I remember I was coaching at Rochdale. We went to Featherstone and beat them 8-6 in the rain. And we beat Bradford in the snow. I think it's always a leveller for the team that's probably not as fast and not as skillful. So that was a worry on the day, but I thought we managed the conditions quite well. And they were a good side, and the results, Lot Lane was a little bit of that sharpened our focus, and even they ran Rochdale close, Parkside. We had a feeling that they'd get a result. We ran against them in a behind closed door game a couple of weeks ago, leading up to the Keighley game, and they're a well drilled side. They're close, and a couple of those teams could probably play in League One. So we didn't take them lightly at all, like I say, and we're probably in a no-win situation. You're supposed to beat them. If you get beat by them, then you'll make the headlines. So just happy to be in the next round, and like I said, we did some good things and only let in one try, so that was pleasing.
And you've got North Wales, who play in the same division as you, so should be at the same level of preparation and standard. Will you spend a lot of time looking at them, or is it just about constantly improving yourself at the moment?
No, I'll always have a good look at the opposition myself, and we will preview them and formulate a game plan around their weaknesses and make sure the lads are aware of their strengths as well. We always do that. We did that with Siddle as well. We watched their game back from Pilts and made sure I always want to prepare the lads as best they can for every game. Make them have notebooks this year, and they make notes in video sessions and things like that, because I just feel sometimes you talk and doing video and they might see something in the first 5 minutes, but then 15 minutes later. So we've added in little things like that this year.
What, a quiz?
Yeah, something like that, and we give them tip sheets. I always give them as much information as they can, and some will use it, some won't. They're all different learners as well, so it's good to show video and written game plans and doing it on the field, and then hopefully it all goes in. And then there's the balance, especially at this level, of not giving too much information and making sure you're concentrating on yourselves as well. It's it's with them working and semi-pro, it is a juggling act, and I'm not saying we always get it right either, but hopefully we get it right more times than we get it wrong.
I say as well, Alan, because from my point of view, when I was playing, and I guess for any player and for any coach, what he wants out of his players is consistency, and certainly the League One is going to be a pretty tough division, to get into that championship, and so consistency it'll get you where you want to get to. But who do you find that could maybe stop you finishing maybe top or second?
Well, it's I think it's a pretty open league this year.
Yeah.
I think Swinton will be strong. North Wales last year did really well. They look like they've improved on last year. Keighley and Doncaster are always pretty big spenders and sign those marquee players as well. And then there's a few unknowns in there as well, isn't there? Cornwall, and you just don't know what teams are going to...
Yeah, they're going to do nothing. They're going to do nothing.
I thought I'd give them a mention.
Well, the worst thing about that would be the journey, won't it?
Yeah, well...
Will you travel in the day, or will you stay overnight? Or stay over 2 nights anyway by the time you get there?
We're planning to leave on the Friday, so lads have to take a day off work, and I think they play 1 o'clock Saturday and then come back.
So are they fixtures open every Saturday? So
I'm not sure. I think ours is, and
Right.
I think that'd be a better way to go for them. But then once you get in the summer holidays,
So I guess the motivation for the coach will be simple. We're not going to be the first club to lose to Cornwall, won't it? That's surely be the motivation, won't it?
well, there's that, yeah, and just the 2 points and winning, yeah.
And the pasty on the way out. There seems to be a bit of a feel-good factor, a regeneration around Hunslet at the moment. Would that be fair to say? And I know it's a long, hard road and there's a lot of obstacles in the way, but can you sense that it feels a little bit different this year?
Yeah, it was hard coming in last year, and I feel, well, I don't want to dwell too much on the past, but there might have been players here for the wrong reasons, or recruited off their past and not the present. And we had a look at it, and we sat down as a with the board and spoke about recruitment, and we knew the funding cuts were coming, and I felt there'd been a disconnect with the supporters, with, you know, through maybe some of the recruitment and the players and those attitudes towards the club and playing, and I thought we would try and keep hold of our, you know, 4 or 5 most loyal players and experienced players, but then fill the place with young, keen lads and as many local lads as we could, and I think that's generated that enthusiasm that supporters seem to be, you know, back on side and back in the lads. And, you know, what I do feel is if long as they're giving 100% on the field, I don't think the result matters as much to the supporters, and I think they've been really good in the last 3 games. That they keep the game just brilliant, seeing the place full, and, you know, or as full as it was, and getting behind the players. And we've got a couple of Welsh lads who've come over. They've come over for the right reason, so they're not all local lads, but the ones who have come, you know, from different places are living locally, and they're sort of cult heroes because they've got mullets, and it's just funny, you know, it's just good to see that. And
Take after
The shockers, I'll tell you, don't worry about that. Alan, before you came over, was because there's been a bit of outcry already, you know, there's been 7 suspensions already for the high tackles. So you now, as a so-called up-to-date coach and all this sort of in the modern game, as what it is from there. So now nobody can attack the head. When you're doing your defensive drills and whatever, are you drilling it into your players? Don't go anywhere near the head.
yeah, you have to, and sort of hitting players late, and that we have to move with the trends, and you know, I'm behind it. I know that we can get a danger of, you know, people saying it can be too soft all the game, but we want to capture players, we want to keep players, and we want young players to play the game. I'm sure if you came in our change room, Schoey, and seen some of these bags they've got, with the moisturisers in and all that, that never happened.
I won't have it. Hey, I won't have it. Don't worry about that.
If Brill cream had offered him a tenner, he'd have been wearing it. Don't worry.
But, you know, they all want to keep the teeth.
Tell me, hey, listen, tell me about it. I had it with a Barrow. Don't worry about it. Years ago. Don't worry about it. I had it. Don't worry about that.
They don't want broken noses. They want to keep the teeth, and it's moved on. You know, some of the old footage you watch. Remember seeing Ellery Hanley getting knocked out in a Winfield Cup final, an NRL Grand Final. It was just brutal, and if we want to keep people, keep young players in the game, then there has to be that level of protection, but it has to be also. It is a contact sport, and there's got to be, you know, we've got to find that happy medium, and I think they're on top of it at the minute, and they're pretty hot on it. But we've got to make sure it doesn't go to the detriment of that, and it starts becoming legs only tackle, for example. So,
I suggested earlier, and because when 10 metres, I mean, it's too far apart, and we look at the contact. Certainly when you saw the first tackle at St Helens, and there were 5 blokes in there, and so the weight of them blokes, it might have been, I don't know, 80, 90 stone ripping into Gil Dudley. So one suggestion I could have suggested, Alan, is we bring the 5 metre rule back and 2 men in the tackle. I don't know what you would think about that. No, move on.
Unequivocal support there.
I think it would be hard for then your half-backs to play. And
No, stand deeper. You make your own space. You stand deeper and make your own time and space, Alan.
But then they're still running 10 metres to get to them, aren't they? So we might as well keep it 10
No,
metres.
you've got 20 metres, because if you're 10 metres away, you've got 20 metres. I can reassure you, if I was playing in today's game with 20 metres, I wouldn't be able to play with Dickie Moore, you know what I mean? But no, you just stand deeper to make your own time and space. You know, I'm just thinking, more for the contact, and with the concussions, and we all know what's going on with the claims and dimension, what have you. I'm just thinking from the contact point how we could maybe prevent a little bit more of it. That's where I'm coming from.
I like the 2 in the tackle. We worked a lot on that this year. I think if you don't need that third man, get him back in your line.
I agree.
That's something we worked on, but sometimes they're that big, you need that third man just to go in.
A few times maybe so. Yeah. But I always prefer where the first man will chop them down, and the second man just smooth the ball carrier. Yeah. Well, as we all know nowadays, it's all about locking on and putting him to the ground. Rather than looking for 5 or 6 second play of the ball, at the time you're looking for 8 or 9 second play of the ball. As a coach, with the people what you're going.
Yeah, I think that. As much as the Melbourne Storm are a great example, I think that wrestles come from them, and bringing in different coaches. I know Leeds have a jiu-jitsu coach, and other clubs are, you know, employing those for different holds and things like that, and the wrestle. So they're not the only team that do it. Just Leeds an example. So everyone's looking for that wrestle, whereas, you know, we can get the ruck cleaner and, like you say, 2-man tackle, the game will be faster, and you might be able to move it to 5 metres. But the wrestles, we need to get away from that, I think, for a cleaner ruck. And I know they've been working on that the last few years. I think the NRL are sort of going past that now, and we seem to follow what they do.
Yeah, we are. Absolutely, absolutely.
Do we change the rules too much? You don't want it to change even more.
No, well, I'm just thinking here, you know, because you know, we don't want 7 blokes, you know, suspended every week, do we? You know, so as I've said before, you know, I said earlier, tripping's not allowed, and so now head-eye tackle's not allowed. So anywhere around the head, you should not be going there, you know. But they will do, Richie. But what I'm thinking of is the concussion there, where you don't have the certain amount of numbers of players in there, you know. So I just think it's an idea of 2 men maximum and the 5 metre rule there for the contacts.
Well, keep the pretty faces for Instagram, get people in.
Yes, well, there you go. There you go. You see, there you go. So here we go. He's back to his best. He's all sure, right?
Garry Schofield season. There you are, leading out Great Britain, the last man to lead out Great Britain in the World Cup final, and will be the last man to lead out.
I tell you what, they were shocking shorts. What they look at them.
Gary Schofield's season diary.
With Phil Kaplan.
All the words written by you, I'm sure.
With Phil Kaplan. I had Phil on my shoulder for 12 months. Jesus.
No, we were at Stoggies about every 6 weeks.
And then the town on town. Yes.
So I was going to say about League One, because we've got you here. What is the future of it? Because obviously, I think even maybe the last time we spoke, there was uncertainty. There was the 210s being bandied around, which now apparently has gone a little on the back burner. There was going to be a limited amount of funding for League One that would eventually become no funding, and you'd have to become virtually a super community club or be in the Championship. How are you approaching maybe the next couple of years? Is there a pressure from the board here to get promoted at the end of this season, take that out of the equation?
I don't think there's that pressure, because obviously we've had the cup, but obviously I'm ambitious and the players are ambitious and the club are as well. But I think there was a meeting last week and some things were presented to the clubs then, and I think it was more welcome than previous times, you know, in terms of the funding. But I think that they have a model now, don't they? And you have to hit so many targets to get that funding. Sort of stay out of that and get given
return on investment.
Yeah, I get given a budget and argue for some more, and then get told I can't have any more.
You won't get out. You won't get out of Peter's Jarvis and Phil Hodgson, will you?
And then we do what we can with it, but there needs to be some clarity, like you say about rules and changing the competition and you know, the Super 8s, the £1 million gate, all that. We need to just have, you know, something consistent, and then like you say, a club then can start, you know, if you look at us this year, the amount of youngsters we got, we could have a 2-3 year plan with keeping the same group, and if we did get to the Championship, then add some experience around them or experienced Championship players, we keep that core and you know, not go all out just to stay in the champ and bankrupt ourselves, and no, we wouldn't do that. It's a bit more responsible, but other clubs have done that. So I think if you know where you stand and there's a plan for the next 5-10 years, it's a lot easier.
And where for somebody like you would a dual registration or loan agreement fit in that plan? Because you've got all these young players, you're trying to build a culture, trying to take a group through with you. How disruptive then is it to sometimes maybe on the second night of training say, I've got 3 kids here who you've never seen before, and they play at a different club that are going to come in and do a job for me. Is that something you'd like to avoid if you can, or is it just a necessary evil?
Yeah, if we can. When I was at Rochdale, we was dual reg with Warrington, and in the first 2 seasons it worked really well. Smithy was brilliant. Could have the players twice a week, training was twice a week. And then and then my 3rd season there, Steve Price took over, and he had a different philosophy with it. More, he saw us as their reserves, if you like, because he come from that NRL system, and sometimes he'd say no, they can't train with you and things like that, and that didn't work. And I know there's examples around other clubs. I think it's with that relationship, but I feel with our squad, the way it is and how we're training, it would be difficult just to, parachute a player in on a Thursday night and they're playing it. It is difficult for lads unless you have a consistent number. I'd rather go down the loan route. I think where we can benefit from dual reg, and I've already spoken to Leeds about this, is some of our lads playing for their reserves. It'd be good for Leeds, it'd be good for our lads, because I've got 28. Kids take a few injuries, or hopefully not suspensions. There might be 6 or 7 who you're not playing this weekend. Where do they go and work on that tackle technique or that decision making? We're not in a position to run the reserves yet, so they might be able to go and play for Leeds and help their young lads and get the game time as well. So hopefully we can benefit the other way.
I don't know who you would have sent me for tackle technique.
You were the article in the annual Garry Schofield's tackling tips. We've been through it. That was years ago now.
It wasn't a very long article. It was a big picture.
Lots of pictures. Yeah.
Somebody must have made them tips up and put my name to it. I can reassure
You
you.
must have tackled when you played in the centres. Was it just good line speed?
Yeah.
No, he had forwards in front of him.
Alan, let me tell you this, and I say it all the time. If I had to make more than 6 tackles in a game, then forwards are getting a rate rollicking. I'm telling you, tackling wasn't my game. No, I'm not, because it's quite simple. You donkeys do your job, and us pretty boys do our job, and we're not going to do your job, and we don't expect you to do ours. That was our simple philosophy.
How did that go down in Australia when you went there?
Well, I was scoring tries, so they're all right. All right. Hey, well, Frank Stanton just said to me, "Listen, Schoey, you need to score us tries," which was music to my ears from an Australian coach, and he just said to me, "Get back in the defensive line when you come." Well, it was great for me, because I think again I was only making, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 tackles. But the great thing,
a season.
But the great thing, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the great thing was he put Wayne Pearce on my right hand side. Pearcey normally did about 780 tackles. Then that season I was there, I think he did about 1,645. So he did more than double or treble his tackle count, because he had to do all my defending. No, defending wasn't my point, I'll tell you. So if you was trying to learn me tackle techniques, we might have had a few arguments.
You wouldn't fancy jiu-jitsu coaching?
No.
Get in the wrestle room?
No, thank you. Actually, I did press my cheekbone trying to tackle.
Exactly.
We played preliminary round against York back in the days when the big boys came in straight away with all the lesser teams, and I did press my cheekbone against York.
Trying to do a tackle.
To try to tackle around his legs and hit his hip bone and just smash my face in.
You tackled Malmeninga once in a test match.
I think
that must have been adrenaline. What were you doing anywhere near him?
I must have fallen in front of him or something like that. I'll tell you who could tackle Malmeninga brilliantly. Carl Gibson. Carl Gibson were brilliant tackling Malmeninga, because I'll tell you the reason why. He was frightened to death. So as soon as the play of the ball went, optimistically you thought, well, Mal was going to get the ball. Carl just went straight up. Whether Mal was going to get the ball or not, he was just literally stood at the side of him. That's exactly what he did. He was a great defender on Malmeninga. Was big Carl Gibson.
Yes. Once he'd put his cigarette out.
Sean Wayne's not called you up to be part of his coaching staff for the World Cup.
Let's move on, Richie. Let's move on. I don't think so, do you?
Well, you never know. Like Malmeninga's got all his brain trust around him.
Yeah. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Put the bear too much. We've got to talk about Hunslet Parkside, because they've gone to London and won.
Yeah.
It's been a great weekend for Hunslet.
It's been brilliant, hasn't it? And the talk about it, and I say the commercial manager here, Phil Hodgson, I come right to him on the win at Sydney, and just said, "Hey, listen, Hunslet Parkside and a Hunslet Wembley final, so who's to say maybe not, the 1895 Cup from there." And
Phil would spontaneously combust if
so, hey, listen, but they've got some decent players down at Parkside, and the squad, they've got a great camaraderie and great team spirit, and they all fight for each other. The 2 McShane brothers, are coached by McShane as well, Paul McShane, and the 2 McShane boys there. They've got plenty of pace in the backs from there. So where do they go in the next round at Parkside?
Sheffield at home.
They've got Sheffield at home.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you. So will they play that here?
I don't think they'll want to.
Yeah, but if they do, I'll tell you what, Sheffield, they better be on their game, because if not, they can quite easily get turned over, because they've got some quality players at Parkside. They have.
Better than Bradford. Because Sheffield beat Bradford, that's all.
Yeah, move on.
Dewsbury beat Sheffield.
But just we might be witness. Oh, it's all confused. We spoke to Stuart Little a couple of weeks ago after they lost to Loch Lane, but he spoke about the way Oldham are trying to build links with the community clubs. How's it with yourselves and the clubs around here at Hunslet?
Well, I was worried when I was scheduled to be on here because I seen Stuart been on and they'd been beat by a lot.
Well, yeah, I just thought of that. Yeah.
Poison chalice. So luckily
Nothing
we
to do
beat
with us,
Sidor.
we're not that important.
We've got a foundation who are out in the schools. Obviously, the Rhinos are well staffed and a mass across the area. I mean, a couple of their development team play for me. So, but the foundation doing a good job, and we've reached out to the club. So we've had East Leeds here, we've had Parkside here. We're going to try and get Warriors here as well, and just have a run with them and train with them. And the longer we go and forge those links, we can share. Share resources, use of it's a good facility, use of the facility, so sort of baby steps, but we're trying to strengthen those links, and it'd be great to get them. I know before the Rhinos game there was a lot of curtain raisers, and it's good to see the kids on the pitch and then the family staying after the game, and I think that's the route that the club are trying to go down, and it makes sense really.
I think even like at Barrow as well, with Paul Clare in the club there and their chairman, they're doing a great job in the community. That says, I mentioned with Mark Campbell there at Featherstone. It's great to see that they're getting out there. And again, what we're doing, we're going out to people and telling them what product we've got, what sport we've got from there. Because if we don't go to them and if we don't tell them, they're not going to know about it either. And I say, speaking to Paul up in Nairn Barrow, and the players themselves are going out into the schools, and I think one of the he played at Hull and he played at Toronto. Maludi, yeah, is he French?
Yeah.
Well, he's going to schools now, and he's even teaching the kids French and all this sort of thing as well as doing this rugby league from there. So what they're doing, the product of rugby league is getting out there, and as I say, Featherstone and the same and the Hunslet, and I'm sure many of the more clubs are doing. Let's have more of it, because at the end of the day, you don't make a professional when you become 18, 19. It all starts when you're 6 and 7. You've got your local heroes coming through and all this sort of thing. And that's the way it should be, and that's it needs to carry on that way.
I mean, you've obviously got to put the team on the pitch, but we talked about Cass earlier. They did all that work in the build-up to the season for months and months and months. New Cass era, and they get a big crowd, and then they lose that first game. But you've got to put together a team that wins, obviously, but also try and attract kids to come and watch you when they've got the Rhinos up the road, who are obviously a bigger attraction.
Yeah, playing Sundays will help, I think, as well. And like I say, the curtain raises and doing things like that, and the ticket prices, I think, pretty reasonable. Obviously, the £5 offer on Sunday, all those things that I think the club have been, with the people they've got on the board, and innovative, I think is the right word. So I think throughout the season as well, there's some difficult fixtures. That's in League One, West Wales at home, London Scholars at home, Cornwall at home now. They're not going to travel and bring support, so I think it's games like that really where we've got to target more and try and get people through the gate and fill the ground. I know there's some plans this year to maybe in the summer months use the marquee that other clubs have used, and the bar facilities and things like that. Like I say, it's a good facility to use it. I think they're just working with the council now and trying to nail down those plans, and hopefully we can attract a new audience.
Well, South Leeds is interesting at the moment, because it's undergoing a huge redevelopment whereby there's a lot more students and young people in this area. Again, is that something that you can tap into, potentially as a source of players, but also giving them that come here and have your Sunday lunch experience?
Yeah, totally. Like you say, it's a new audience. It's a young team as well, and that brings family, friends. We've got students in the team, so they can be out driving the message as well and trying to attract those people to the game. And like I say, it's a good facility in and around here, and there's the gym and all things we could maybe tap into and try to attract maybe the members from the gym come to the game. So there's lots of different things we can be doing, but I think it comes down to staffing and funding as well. It's hard. We've just got one sort of full-time member of staff. Your general manager or whatever. It's we're relying on those volunteers and really stretching on them and the time they give. So I think we're doing a good job with the resources we've got at the minute.
Well, what I would say to the public, I'm in Hunslet myself, Alan, and I say the great your chairman down there, Kenny Sykes, and fellows who do a great job. But your main selling point is quite simply the product, what you're putting out there. Your product is good, you know. So I say to all the Hunslet fans, you know, and Leeds fans as well, if you're not doing anything on Sunday afternoon, get yourselves down here, you know, and get yourselves seen. Quality Rugby League and an attractive game of Rugby League. That's what he's promoting. The players are responding to his coaching philosophies, and also I was here for the Keighley game and the Leeds game as well. The hospitality is second to none. Very, very welcoming. And as I say, it's a great afternoon from there. And any businesses, you know, want to get involved in all this sort of thing, get behind your local side. And at the end of the day, the products, because that's what we're here for mainly. That's what we're here for mainly, to see what product is out there on a Sunday afternoon and what he's delivering at the moment and his team. Tell you what, it ain't far off. It's not far off.
You want to jump on Premier, don't you, where they're doing those pasties at half time?
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I tell you what, I need to fill my 32-inch waistline, to be honest with you. I need some pasties.
Have you been losing weight?
Yeah, I need to fill these 32s. You know, these 32s are nipping. That's changed. That's changed. That's changed. The 32s, I need to fill the 32s. I'll do the funnies, all right.
I think what you're saying there as well, I think the League One is more, you know, your old school, it's less structured.
Yeah.
It's a good product to watch. The games are good.
I agree.
The playoffs last year, the Keighley Doncaster game, the comeback, you know, all those games. It's a good competition to watch.
On that, clearly we've seen some top end NCL teams have matched and mixed with League One sides. Rather than look at League One as an expensive luxury that the game can't afford, should we be looking to put more teams into League One, maybe from the top four of the NCL, if they want to make that step up? Would that enhance the competition, do you think?
I think it would, yeah, and it's how long you persevere with some of these other teams. You know, what are the other teams bringing to the competition, and I'm not single anyone out, and we put it up in the dressing rooms when we're playing them. But you know, I'd be really in favour of like a conference system and merging the Champ and League One, and you know, imagine we're in a conference with Dewsbury, Batley, Keighley, and then maybe we play like maybe one from the other conferences, however that was made up. I think that would go down really well, and you'd get big crowds, and like I say, a West Wales at home or a London Scholars away. They're not going to travel here, and our crowd's not going to travel there. But if it's not as regular and we're playing those local derbies, you know, every other week, I think that would be a good competition underneath Super League with that pathway of promotion.
So then, Alan, obviously you're ambitious as a coach. What's your club you want to coach? You're ambitious, English?
Manly.
Manly?
That's the perfect answer.
Yeah, that's a perfect answer. Yeah, it's a perfect answer. Absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
Well, why not? Why not? All the others come over here and take our bloody jobs, don't they? You know. So, but yeah, obviously you're ambitious from there. Obviously, you say Manly from there, but what about the British side? I know you're from the other side of the Pennines. So you want to bring some entertainment. But having said that, they did it this week. Wigan, would you bring some entertainment back to Wigan fans?
I'm happy here, you know.
No, I'm not taking it away from Hunslet. No, Hunslet fans, I'm not taking them away from Hunslet. No. I'm just saying, you know, obviously you're ambitious as a person, aren't you? You're ambitious as a coach from there, definitely. You know. And as I say, if Hunslet, if we could see, you know, Hunslet going up there to Super League, obviously you're here. But you know, which side would you like to lead out at Wembley then, or Old Trafford? If it's not Hunslet, who would it be?
So rumours that Christian Wolf might be going back at the end of the season, so opening at second.
Paul Wellens might be in there next.
So let me put this thing to you. You know, Paul Wellens getting head coach. He comes to you. You've been head coach of your own man as well. Would you go as an assistant at a Super League club? Are you under a Paul Wellens?
I'm not sure if I'd like being an assistant. I've been an assistant before. I like being.
You like being the main man
and head coach. And I know it's a cliche. I was out the game for a year or so, and then obviously COVID, and I'm just really happy to be coaching. And it's just you've been around teams yourself. It's just it's good. It's exciting. You get training. You get to see the lads, and I think I've probably been guilty of that myself in the past. When I was at Rochdale, we did well in the Champ, and I was getting linked with other jobs, and I think sometimes you can start reading into that a bit much and losing your focus. So I'll just go from session to session, game to game, and I think if either Hunslet will progress through that, or I'll progress through that, because the outcome will be us doing well. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but I am ambitious. I do want to work with a full-time side. I think that would be the next step for me.
I was at that game when you beat Featherstone with Rochdale. Yeah, it's very impressive. Yeah, very.
It's hard enough keeping
very
Harvey
impressive.
Whiteley's feet on the ground. So that's a full-time job.
Well, they're close to it. So.
Well, at the end of the day, to be honest with you, for me, you get credit because you want to play the game the right way, and you get the response from the players. So more of it, please. I want more of it from all the coaches. You know what I mean?
Was Tony Smith an influence on that? Because you mentioned that clearly that link between Warrington and yourselves at Rochdale was very close. Did you come on, because there's almost like a whole family tree of coaches that lead back to Tony that play the game a certain way. Would you be one of his disciples?
Well, I worked for Warrington for 7 years, and I was very fortunate. We moved offices there, and we worked in the youth department, and the first team sort of did video behind, and I used to listen on the door, and I'd always ask Tony stuff, and then he did sort of become a mentor for me, and I went to Australia for 3 years, and I used to ring him quite a bit, and some good advice there, and the way he played the game, and as well, my dad's a big Saints fan. My uncle's Jeff Pimlett, who was a Lance-Todd trophy winner in 1976. Married my dad's sister, and they had a real connection with St Helens, and I used to go and watch St Helens with my dad. Well, that's from Warrington, so I used to watch Saints one weekend with my dad and Warrington with my mates. So I've always been split between them, but the Saints sides always sort of played good rugby. Don't remember Shane Cooper, who's one of my favourite players, just an innovator. And I remember once they brought
proper loose
balls on.
Proper loose.
I was at the game. They got a ball boy off. They got a ball off the ball boy, and they were already playing, and he scored a try, and everyone was confused, and the ref gave the try, and just things like that. But Saints played entertaining rugby, and I think my dad probably installed that into me first. Like, when Saints had some coaches that he didn't like the way they played, he'd have a bit of a moan about it. So I think that's probably where that comes from, and I just think that the game should be played like that. We want entertaining. You come to get entertained, and especially I suppose in the current climate where the weekend might be go to the cinema with your kids or pay for this or pay for that. If you come into a game, you don't want to see 5 drives in a kit. You've come here, you've sacrificed all week. You want to be entertained, and that's probably something that's always in the back of my mind. I'd always like the supporters to go away and say, yeah, they played some good stuff today, or they did something different, or something in it a bit. And that's how I want my teams to play.
Bradford Bolts fans will want you there soon.
Nigel will be deleting yours.
Kenzo,
the corporate's gone.
No more hospitality.
Nigel's honest and just like I am. Don't worry about that. Is he?
No, your corporate's gone.
I'm only being honest. How hard
is it then? Because obviously you want to play a certain way, but when you're in a big game, is there a temptation to try and change that style to be more conservative, so to speak, to just get over the line and get that result?
You've got to get the balance right. I think like Hull KR is a good example last year where they went to Catalans, and I think they had a chance to kick a penalty early, and they didn't, at 0-0 away, thinking take the sting out of Catalans, put the 2 points over, and then they were throwing the ball around, chipping over, and yeah, it had worked for him, a philosophy. But
love it. Throwing the ball about, chipping over them on the second and third tackle. Love it, Alan. Love it.
They didn't see the ball again, did they? So I think you've got to get the balance right. But you've trained all year to play that way. I think Penrith are a good example of the way they play, in South Sydney, them two in the grand final. That's the pinnacle of our sport at the minute. They're both footballing teams, and it was good they overcome your Melbournes and your Manleys last year. Probably more teams who grind games and complete sets. So I suppose you practice to do it all year. You need to do it under pressure in them big games.
It's something Schoey's mentioned in the past, and you mentioned earlier about your own playing career. Is it? I mean, did you struggle because you were coaching players who couldn't do?
No, without that.
What you did?
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I think I've said it before on the show, maybe a lot of years ago. When I'll just say, well, like when I took the Huddersfield job, I had 4 phases through the season where we get better. So I'd have an A, B, C, and D. So after 12 games, I'll be moving on to B, and then after 18 games on to C, and then after that D, and then we should be hitting somewhere near. But Well, I got the sack after 13 games anyway, but so we got anyway near the 12th game. We were still way behind, still in A, because the players were just literally making the silly basic mistakes week in and week out. But when you talk about egos and pretty boys and all this sort of thing, the man management then comes into it, because, well, to be honest with you, what I was doing realistically was I was telling them lies. I was just telling them how good the players were. Realistically, I should have been ripping in and telling them how useless they were, because they were making me look a fool and all this sort of thing. But I couldn't do that. I couldn't, because they would have sucked, you know, and that's what all sportsmen seem to do nowadays. And but unfortunately,
You've never sulked in your career, then?
Oh yeah. Only a couple of times. Yeah, when I
Only
3 times when I got sacked 3 times at Leeds, the captain. But anyway, but my point was they weren't getting any better week in and week out. But I had to keep telling them that they were, and there wasn't. And when you talk about consistency, but from my point of view, from the player I was to professional players as they were. They were struggling to do the basics, and not struggling to do the basics in training, because there's no pressure. You know, you can easily find a pass, or you can easily, you know, do a tackle or get the better of your teammate from there. But then when that extra pressure is put on you, they couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle it. But as far as they knew themselves, I'll give you a prime example, right? Because when I was coaching, I used to say to them, right, I want you to judge yourself out of 10, because I'm judging you out of 10 as well. And after 5 games, we'll sit down as a team collected and see where you are. Anyway, so after 1 game, I thought, right, I'm going to ask them in team meetings and surprise them. This gives you a prime example what they want. This gives you a prime example what they were like. So Danny Arnold scored 3 tries. I think he saved 3 tries as well and what have you. Anyway, so got the man of the match. So Danny Arnold got a 9. Got a 9, and rightly so. So when I asked him, I said, Danny, you know, what do you reckon? What do you give yourself out of 10? He went, well, I don't really think I played well this week. I've only given myself a 6. I thought, what? Anyway, so I said, all right, that's where you felt the way that you played. You didn't feel as though you played well. You scored 3 tries, saved 3 tries, and got the man of the match. 2 weeks later, we had a shocker. I think it was against Halifax, an absolute shocker. So I thought, right, I'm going to surprise him again. So I went to Danny straight away, getting with Winger, and he had an absolute shocker. He did. But he thought he played well. So I think I gave him a 4. And I said, Danny, you know, what you yourself this week, bearing in mind, you know, we're being hammered. You know, I thought I played far better this week than I did 2 weeks ago. So I'll give myself an 8. But this is what you were working with. This is what there wasn't honest. There wasn't, because you know the situation with the mirror test and all this sort of thing. They weren't honest with their own performances. You know, and they were trying to kidology with me. And I thought, well, this ain't going to work. And then you try different philosophies on how to get the best out of it and all this sort of thing. But in the end, and I think it was a Halifax fixture where I just literally lost it with them and just fired into them. They all went moaning to the chairman, Ken Dave, and I got a rollicking for it and all this. So you should speak to them like this and speak to them like that. I just said, well, I'm not putting my name to that performance. And then a week later, I got the sack. And there you go.
The Garry Schofield book of psychological coaching.
I got the sack, and that was that. And that was that.
So there you go out and don't ask your players to
Hey, but bearing in mind, do you know what? I'm adding another one to it as well, because Richie, what about you? I was speaking to my mate Richard Dilliviers the other day, and it's even better because you know my coaching record, as I says, better than Tony Smith's, better than John Keir, and better than Malcolm Reilly. But what's even better? I wasn't even qualified, and they were. So that makes it even better, Richie and Phil. It makes it even better. They were qualified coaches, and I wasn't. There we go. But the situation is, they're still in the game, and I'm sat with you lads on a Monday night.
In front of hundreds.
There we go. There we go. But the good days. But even Alan, when you're doing your video sessions or your remit sessions, they call them nowadays, and what have you. Do you feel as though you get the honesty from the players when you ask them the questions, you know, from there about the performances?
Spoke about that. We do actually. We've got a review form that they do. So they have to do it before video on a Tuesday. So it's an online form. Couple of questions on the individual performance, the prep, and then the team, and then hopefully that marries up. So I spoke to them tonight because when we played Keighley, I asked them about the communication in attack. How did they think it was? And as a group, they all said it was good. But on the review forms, they'd all said that our communication can improve. So I think we do that individually, and then sometimes this group's pretty good actually for talking up. Sometimes you get quiet groups or just the same voices, but if you've done that review sort of and it just comes to me, no one else sees it, then they might not want to talk up or say something against another player in this environment, which is encouraged because if you do talk up, you're improving that person, even if they don't want to hear it, but some people don't like doing it, so it gives us, we can do a team review and they've done a personal review, and I think we do ask them to mark the team performance out of 10 and the individual performance out of 10, so use before your time with that, mate.
Back in our day, you know what, back in our day, the remit were called, you played rubbish today, you're going into A-team on Thursday night up to work it, or you're going to Boulevard to get a good hiding. Them mistakes what you made this afternoon, that's where you're going to get a good hiding on a Thursday night. You soon learn from it, I'll tell you.
There must be some countries coming over for the World Cup, Schoey, where we can get you a job on the coaches or something like that.
Explain that in Lebanese.
Can you speak Portuguese?
The good old Portuguese. San Miguel, is that any good? Is that any good? Is that Spanish? No, it's near enough, isn't it? It's near enough. Spain's near enough Portugal. San Miguel I do, but yeah, the good old days of the A-teams. Yes.
When we were asked to come here, I did say we'd talk about the World Cup, but we haven't. Are we going to win the World Cup, Schoey?
No.
Oh.
No.
We won't send that to John Doe.
No. Well, obviously, hey, listen. I'd love us to, to win the World Cup, but obviously, but also as well, the first thing I want to say is, geez, I was frothing about 5 weeks ago when I finished. So, how come Australia are rated fourth?
Because that's the world rankings. You haven't played.
Well, who else has played? Well, hold on.
Holland, the Netherlands, Germany.
Well, hold on.
Morocco.
We played the French, beat them.
We did a draw. We did the draw for the...
England played against a combined journeyman side.
That didn't count on the rankings.
Yeah, that's not...
A combined journeyman side we got beat. Then we played against a French side who didn't turn up and all. So listen, we all know the story from there. So yeah, Aussies, New Zealand, but Tonga's got to be the team. If we play Tonga in the semi-final, and if Wolfie gets the reaction what he gets, i.e., as he's brought Conrad Hill there to St Helens, we know what he gets out of his players, where they want to put that shirt on and play for the badge and all, and all that sort of, philosophy from there. Yeah, obviously I want England to win. I want it to get to the final, but I tell you what, it's going to be tough. Boy, oh boy, is it going to be tough, because it looks like we're going to be playing Tonga, doesn't it, semi-finals. Hey, listen, don't be writing off Fiji, don't be writing off Samoa. Who's
Fiji, you've got to the last 3 semi-finals.
Yeah, so who's in our groups? Who's in our group?
We've got Samoa first,
Samoa.
Yeah.
So
and
forget
Greece,
about...
And Greece.
Yeah, well, so there's
Billy Madoulis.
There's 2 nailed on there, isn't there? So and then Samoa. So, but anyway, hey, listen, it's Australia from day one, and the player of the tournament will be Nathan Cleary.
So he's going to win the Golden Boot that the Dutch fella should have won the other year.
Dutch fella winning Golden Boot.
Yeah, because now they've changed it. Obviously, when you won it, was a proper thing.
Yeah, it was a proper thing. Yeah.
It's now
they didn't award it.
who performs the best in international.
Well, it's rubbish.
He was man of the match in the one international that was played.
Well, he should have it then. Should have it.
Shoemaker, was it?
He should have it.
Schoenmaker.
He should have the Golden Boot.
He should. There you go.
But
Endorsed by Garry Schofield.
they've just dethroned it, haven't they, really, to be honest, how they've changed it, because Nathan Cleary's head and shoulders above anybody else in the world at the moment, isn't he?
Needs to show it in the World Cup.
Oh, show it.
They wanted you to go to Amsterdam and present it to him. Is that all right?
Right, okay. There's a bit of hospitality. I might be able to look at my diary, Alan, just for a bit of San Miguel as well. But is it anywhere near Portugal or whatever? We'll have a look at there. Amstel, I don't mind a drop of Amstel. Yeah, I don't mind a few sherbets of the old Amstel. Don't worry about that. Yeah. I don't.
We've waited 18 months for it.
I don't mind that. So are we getting on now? Are we getting on their predictions yet? What time are we? Are we quarter? Are we getting on?
Yeah.
Near predictions?
Go on then.
Are we going back on predictions?
Yeah.
Only in
There's the World Cup.
Eh?
I've justified talking about the World Cup.
You'd no favouritism as well to Warrington over the side of the Pennines,
I'll join
Mr.
in.
Kilshaw. Listen,
I've got a game this
are you
weekend.
listening? Are you listening? Yeah. So, right. So, who's on Thursday?
Warrington and Castle.
Warrington and Cass.
Darryl Powell,
Darryl Powell. Obviously, it's home derby. Castleford are coming there. Obviously, Radders have been looking surely for a reaction, but I think it's going to be a great atmosphere there at Warrington. Yeah, the players themselves know they got away one, but hey, listen, they got the 2 points, and I think it's going to be Warrington again. And I've said here it's going to be a nice winning start for Powell's team, and I've given Warrington to win by 22. Warrington by 22. So I will be invited to Cass again.
No, that's it. It's another place you're not going.
And they had a nice buffet at their media day as well. They've got nice food there now.
All right, fair play. So
think
yeah,
the-
Warrington by 22.
The interesting thing are the players that are playing against their former clubs as well. So you've got Oliver Holmes and Peter Mattout here. You've got Jake Mamo, want to make a name for himself. I think it'd be a bit closer. I think the confidence factor of winning when you don't play well will help Warrington.
Yeah.
But I think Castleford know they've got to produce something this week to keep that bubble going. So I think Warrington will win, but it'll be closer than 22 points.
No, I'm in.
Oh, I never.
Get them splinters out your backside and sit on the fence.
Warrington will win, that's it.
Come on then, Mr. Kilshaw. You're like you're a Warrington man. Come on, come on.
I'm probably a little bit concerned over the Leeds role. Warrington, I thought, when they had the ball through the middle, even when they were down to 11. So I think Warrington need to play on the edges. I think Cass will probably come. No pressure this week. Everyone expects them to lose, where they had a bit of pressure last week. Big crowd, everyone expects them to win, but I think Warrington by 10.
Oh, I'm going to go Cass. Cass by 4.
You're going Cass?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Well, wait for you, man. Go on Cass.
Because
Yeah.
he enjoyed the buffet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, you want to get yourself back, invite back down to Castleford, don't you? Yeah, exactly.
I know people there.
Yeah.
Don't know. Don't really know anywhere else. Friday night, here it
Leeds,
is.
Wigan.
Phil Clark will be there on the telly. Wigan versus Leeds. Everyone loves it.
He won't be biased, will he? He won't
Terrible weather.
He won't be biased, will he, Phil, towards... exactly, towards Wigan. But so, do you know what I'm saying? I'm saying this now through gritted teeth, and yeah, I was very impressed by Wigan. I was not just, again, you know, they'll always have that physical side. I'll tell you what, Bateman showed a bit of form as well, didn't he? And Petey's certainly getting a tune out of him, as we mentioned earlier in the show, with Breeze's influence. The conditions could play a massive part, couldn't they? Because it's going to be shocking weather, led to 80 mile an hour winds or something like that. But Leeds have got a few injuries, a couple of maybe, you know, suspended. This is hurting. This is hurting. I'm going Wigan by 7.
We're going to have got an injury as well with Ian Thornley. He's out for a couple of months.
Yeah, but he's not with their main men, is he? He's only a winger. So.
But I think what Wigan will have is the incentive of being nilled twice by Leeds last year. I think that's really rankled with them throughout the close season, and I know that second game in the playoffs there was a lot of disquiet among the Wigan fans. They'll want to see something different, and for that reason I think Wigan will just have too much.
I'm going to go Leeds. I think Blake Austin back, and I think they would have took a lot out of Saturday when they reviewed it. I thought they were good, and they were probably unlucky to lose. So yeah, I'm going to go Leeds. Close one, maybe 1 or 2 points.
Says the St Helens.
And they know James
true.
Bentley won't get sent off this week, so that's a positive for Leeds.
Who are you going for?
Draw. Go draw.
Oh, he hasn't changed. He hasn't changed, has he? Eh? He's not changed.
After golden point.
We still got golden point.
Yeah, he's not changed.
All right, Leeds by a point and golden point. I don't know who's going to kick it. Hull
Aidan
F-
Caesar.
Aidan Caesar. On the telly on Channel 4, Hull FC versus St Helens in lovely Hull.
Yes, it will, and I say it's going to be a very sad day, but an emotional day, but also and a celebration day, hopefully as well. Let's celebrate the life of the great man in Johnny Whiteley and what he brought to the whole club, and what he brought to the city, what he brought to the supporters, and everything from there. So let's make it a great event for Johnny's memory and all the family as well. Let's put on a great show again with a game. They'll want to do that with Hull, but boy oh boy, I can't look past St Helens, and they know. Hey, I tell you what, and you know, I asked Paul Schofield this at the weekend when I saw him. I'll just throw it in quickly. Can St Helens go unbeaten all season? That's one for us to maybe talk about. That's maybe one for us to talk about in maybe 2 or 3, 4 weeks down the line. Maybe I'll throw it out there.
2 years time.
Can St Helens go unbeaten all season? But yeah, they are being hunted, but they love being hunted, and I love their attitude. When Catalan said, "Come on, then we're having it," and St Helens says, "Yeah, okay, then you're getting it." Loved it. They won't be frightened by going. It's the MKM Stadium now, isn't it? So they're over at Hull from there, and I've gone St Helens, and I've gone St Helens to win by 18.
I think Jake Connor not playing clearly is a blow for Hull on the basis of the fact that I don't know where the points come from when he doesn't play. I can see Saints wanting to use this national platform to show everybody just not how good they are now, but how good they've been over the last 3 years. So, whilst I think you're right, Hull will start with a huge level of intensity to do the memory of Johnny Whiteley justice. I can't see beyond Saints at the moment. It's going to take somebody really special to beat them, and I'm just not sure Hull are at that level at the moment.
Yeah, Saints too good. I think they look very fit on the week. On Thursday was it, and the line speed was exceptional. So yeah, I think they'll have too much room.
Sid, our Hull KR supporting friend who watches the programme, will no doubt say Saints will play reserve team against Toulouse or something like they did against London to throw that unbeaten season out of whack.
Who are you going for?
Saints.
By how many?
20. Yeah, I thought we'd beat them on Sunday, but we didn't. We'll come to them in a moment. But next, Huddersfield versus Hull Kingston Rovers.
Yes.
3 o'clock.
I think it'll be an entertaining game. Because Watson has brought Lohi in there, and Fardy's there now, isn't he? To bring a lot more creativity from there. So I think there'll be open direct. The forwards will be looking to get ripped in. Hull KR, they're not going to change their style of play. And won't be for sure. Sam Wood, he'll be getting plenty of peppers. He'll be getting plenty of peppers.
Ex-Huddersfield.
Yeah, ex-Huddersfield. He's coming back from there, so the fans will be on his back. He'll be getting plenty of high balls from there, plenty of pressure. And Huddersfield, if they wanted anybody at home after a loss, it would have been Hull Kingston Rovers. So he may get the ideal start, Watson. And you Huddersfield fans that always give me a bit of chip when I go there. You always say, why do you always say we're going to lose in your column? Well, this week you're going to be happy. I'm tipping you to beat Hull KR by 7.
I think this is a really intriguing game that we'll get to see whether Huddersfield are
the real
a
deal.
bit more of the real deal, because I think they'll get more of a test than Toulouse gave them.
Yeah.
But I think Hull KR will want to respond. They lost predominantly, not just because Wigan were trying off a scrum and all that kind of thing, because they made mistakes. They made, 4 mistakes that led directly to tries?
Yeah.
So I think, again, that's what Tony Smith will probably be working on, and that if they do get a tune, I wouldn't be surprised if Hull KR came away from that with a win. But I think there's something about Huddersfield this year, so I'm just going to Huddersfield by 2.
That's Hull KR. I think, like you said there, I think when they review the game, yes, Wigan were good, but I think Tony said himself after the game, they didn't ever play the ball in Hull KR's 20 till the second half. So that shows that they fed off their errors, and they took the chances, and Huddersfield have always been a bit inconsistent, so it's probably a good challenge for them this weekend to see if they're going to be that consistent this year. But they were good in patches against Toulouse, but they give Toulouse a bit of a start. I don't think they can afford to do that this week, so I'll back Hull KR 6.
I'm going to go with them as well, by 12, because I've said Huddersfield are going to struggle this year, so I may as well back that up for the first 2 weeks at least. Also on Saturday, those dirty, cheating French, the Catalan Dragons, versus the clean as a whistle Wakefield Trinity.
Yeah, well, I tend to say, well, won't be for sure, he will be looking for a reaction with McNamara, and what he will be looking for a reaction will be from Mitchell Pearce, and so will I. Because I've gone early with Man of Steel. I've said Mitchell Pearce, but the Man of Steel winner this year.
It's only because of what his dad did.
No. And well, after that performance, honestly, he wouldn't get it packs. I under 9s, don't worry about that. After playing like he did last week, it's the worst performance I've ever seen him perform, whether it was for the Roosters or Newcastle Knights. But he's a far better player than what he was. That half-back partnership, may take a little bit more time, but the forward pack, and if they get the right service, the outside backs will be way too strong for Wakefield. I think I've been a bit kind of me, Colin, to be honest with you. I've only tipped Catalan to go by 24, but it could be a bit many. But I'll stick with it. I'll go Catalan by 24. And Mitchell Pearce, just to show us how good he is.
I think there's 2 things here. One is Catalan are short of big men. 2 suspended, 1 with a broken arm. That will affect the way they like to play. But the other thing is, until a team is announced, we don't know who's going to be playing for Wakefield this week. And I think word is there might be 5 or 6 who, for the reasons of not being fully vaccinated, will not be playing. For that reason, I think Catalan will have a big crowd in. They'll celebrate what they did last year with their first home game this year. And even though we might see a couple of unfamiliar names in the pack, I just think they'll have too much for Wakefield. Sorry, Rich.
It's all right, I'm not in charge of the team. I don't play that. What does it matter?
I wouldn't read too much into Thursday night, I think Catalans will be the closest to Saints this year. I think they'll get better and better as the season goes on. And I can't see them getting beat at home this year. I think they'll put a score on Wakefield. Sorry, Rich.
Battle of two former Wakefield captains, though one of them's thought more highly at Bellevue than the other one. Willie in still, but Wakefield coming home with nothing but a baguette. Dragons by 12. Finally, Sunday, Salford versus Toulouse.
Yeah, well, he got the ideal start, didn't he? Rowley, and I say we're absolutely delighted with his half-back partnership from there. Steady doing what he does best, you know, penalising teams with penalty goals, bit of organisation, but Brodie Croft from there, great service and fully deserved victory against Casper before. And Toulouse, yeah, they'll come there, but as I've said before, just a little bit like League last year, too many journeymen on the side, they'll be all right for 40, 50, maybe 60 minutes max, but then the quality, they'll come apart from that. And Salford, they will get their second victory. Will they go top of the Super League after round 2? And I'm going Salford quite easily by 36 points.
I reckon this is a good test for Salford because they weren't expected to win last week, but they are expected to win this week. And they've got some very passionate home fans. They might not have as many as some other clubs, but when they get behind the team, they really do make a lot of noise. So they'll go there, right, you know, just turn up and we'll win. Well, that's the attitude they've got to get away from if they are going to be successful. Whereas Toulouse, again, I don't think the team is going to look too much different this week than it did last. And there wasn't enough quality in it. And we spoke earlier about when you take Ford and Corella out of that. And we don't know how they would have gone in Super League because we've never seen them play at that level. But they were their two go-to players. I just don't think Toulouse are disciplined enough. So I will go Salford, but it might not be as easy as I think it's going to be.
Yeah, I think Toulouse will struggle with the weather. I think, you know, they're not a wet weather football team. They've forecast this weekend and off home soil as well. So yeah, I think Salford will back it up. And it's great to see Dion playing last week. Took him out of Blackbrook and signed him at Rochdale, and he's gone on to Barrow, Widnes, and Super League. So that, you know, that's a great credit to him and shows young kids, you know, if the Super League door gets closed at a young age, there still is a pathway to get to Super League. So it's a good story.
Well, I'll tell you what, Alan, there's plenty of talent out there. They just need an opportunity.
Correct.
Simple as that.
I hope the wind's not coming over from the sewage farm on Sunday. That'll smell worse than Sale tapping up a Rugby League player's contract. That's Salford by 20. I mean, the big question I forgot to ask, because obviously Schoey got his amazing nickname. How did you get yours? That shows the great creativity of the Rugby League.
Well, what was
Rugby
it?
League change room.
You don't want to know.
What was it? What was it?
You don't want to know.
Are we having an exclusive? I don't know it. What was your nickname?
Killer.
All right, so you
It's
were
not exactly the most adventurous name ever.
so you were a bit of a dirty sauce on the pitch, were you? Were you a head-eye tackler, Mr. Kilshaw?
No.
Were you a head-eye tackler?
In fact, I was at one club they said it should be called Daisy, not Killer. Don't tell the players that.
I think you just did.
Yeah, go head off.
They won't be watching. On that bombshell, Alan, thank you for joining
No
us.
problem, my pleasure.
Best luck for the season, and obviously the All Hunslet 1895 Cup final at Tottenham. Schoey, good to have you back.
Yeah, good to be back. Yeah, good to be back.
We'll see you again soon, no doubt, when you back mobile.
I'm mobile now. I'm back.
Oh no.
I'm back. So
Change the lock.
I'm back. You know. So hopefully, hopefully we've had a good response and the fans have enjoyed it. You know. So
Need
Hey,
more
listen,
bloody biscuits.
and
now.
all we'll say is, listen. Let's hopefully we see the same quality of rugby league from everybody from what we saw in the first week. It is.
Yeah, enjoy it. I'm going to go over. I've not brought my mouse with me, so I'm going to go over and say goodbye to everyone on the internet. So, goodbye, internet. We'll see you again soon, but thanks for watching.